Coffee Club. Theme, dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Welcome to Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston. Co-hosting Sports 56 Mornings is Anthony Sane. Here are Peter and Anthony with Sports 56 Mornings.
Man.
I was wondering where you boycotting today, man. I didn't see your face on the screen. I thought you were making a statement today.
I thought about it.
Yeah, if you'd have sent me the
I'm
group
back.
text, you'd have sent me the group text, man. I would have been, okay, I guess I'll sleep in today.
Oh man, welcome in everybody.
Yes.
What a day, huh?
Yeah, man. What a difference a day makes, huh?
Wow. We got a lot to get to, man. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot of stuff happening on what was a historic day,
monumental day
in the world of America, in the world of American sports, the world of American politics, in the world of just America. Period. An enormous day, and potentially another one today. We shall see how it goes. I'm Peter. He's Anthony Sane. We're in the Family Leisure Studios, and it's all happening, man. That's all I can tell you. It's all happening. Woo! Okay, where to even begin on a day when you have a work stoppage, essentially, a strike, I would say. Players, not only across the entire NBA, ultimately started by the Bucks, but the entire NBA shut down for a day of playoffs. You had Major League Baseball. You had 3 games in Major League Baseball shut down by their players. You had 5 MLS matches. You had WNBA shutting down in solidarity. You had basically everyone except for the hockey folks shutting down, and a lot of people in the hockey world not happy that they did not join the protest.
They'll be all right.
But that's but it was a monumental day.
Wait, you said hockey did shut down or they didn't shut down?
Did not.
Oh yeah, I don't need them to be all right about that. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying that there were some teams that shut down and people were mad about it. Okay, my bad.
No, people were mad they didn't shut down. There were several players who were upset that they did not shut down. And they will be all right, probably either way. But still, it was a little disheartening for some that they didn't participate. Then you also had a Category 4 hurricane, almost Category 5, slamming into the Gulf Coast, Lake Charles, Louisiana, Cameron Parish last night. And as the sun rises down there, the damage is extraordinary. And we will be catching some of the remnants of that here in the next few days. So I would expect a lot of rain and showers and all that stuff for the next few days. There were plenty last night as well. So you've had all that. You have the Republican National Convention going on. You have a monumental day, to say the least. A lot going on. So we have a lot to talk about, obviously, over the next 3 hours. We got our friend Dustin Starr is going to join us in the third hour. We may get joined. I don't know. We got a couple guests that we'll see how things go.
Yep.
Because this is obviously a fluid situation, a very emotional situation.
Yep.
There's a lot happening, man. So we'll have to kind of play by ear a little bit, but we'll let you know how that proceeds. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm good, bro. Mostly just kind of all over the place. Went from I was upset about things yesterday locally, and then when you see this national news, national history being made before your eyes, and just seeing different guys speak on it, and the additional movements by guys like Kenny Smith, and just different things that different guys said, and it's just good stuff, man. Good to read some of the talking points, some of the tweets that went out by players. Draymond Green had a very informative tweet. I agree with a lot of things he was saying in his tweet. But, man, just it's just a sad situation to be in. I slept very well last night as opposed to the night before. But the times that I did wake up in the middle of the night, I saw, the developments as far as the Clippers and the Lakers are concerned. But yeah, man, it just is what it is. And in 2020, we just have so many devices and avenues of ways to be reminded of how things have been for the last few hundred years. You know what I mean? It's not that anything's really new. We just have so much exposure to things, and people have the ability to say nonsense behind the keyboard or on Facebook or Twitter or, in comment sections of newspaper articles or YouTube or whatever they're doing. So it just accelerates everything. But, nothing's really changed. Nothing's really new. We lived in a country where black people were lynched for sport. So it's not any new developments, any new type of wickedness, new type of evil. People just have increased their ignorance, and they're shortening their desire to even listen or understand. And they're trying to put things, put their attention in the wrong place and the wrong things instead of dealing with the real deal. And I get to the studio every day around probably 6:45. I try to get around 6:45 to kind of get things together. And there's a show that's playing while we're on, before we come on the station, and just listen to those takes from that side of the coin, and just nonsense, man. Just, why don't they comply? And, well, the murder rate across the country is going up because people have turned their backs on police. And why don't we worry about the 99% of the murders with black people when they're killing themselves? And I'm like, man, you just don't get it. And we'll talk about the difference between black on black, quote unquote, black on black crime, whatever that is, and police killing black people as well. But I know we have other things to talk about, including introducing Zach. So I got all day for this. So I can go all 3 hours talking about this type.
Well,
of thing.
that's the thing. That's what today is about, a lot of that, because that's really what's front and center in the sports world and in just the entire world period. After an incredible day. So, yes, it is time to welcome to the program the third member of the team. He did not disappoint. He showing up, looking at this guy. Look at that shirt. Look at the hat. I mean, one of your better looking fits that you got there, Zach, I got to say. Nice work for you.
See you, brother.
Now, Zach, of course, as you know, we have to talk to Zach a lot about this stuff because Zach is the Prince of Whitehaven. He's the Lord Mayor of Westwood, so he has some power in this world. Zach has some influence. He's the sheriff of the tariff. He's the chief without beef. He's the
Maven of clean shaven. Oh, he's the Maven of clean shaven.
He is the Maven of clean shaven. You are correct about that.
Mm-hmm.
What else is he, Anthony?
He's the guru of tofu, as well as the what did I say?
He's the Duke of the Cucumber.
Yep. Duke of the Cucumber. The pastor of On Air Disaster.
He's the Hefe of Kofafe.
The main attraction.
He runs the show. Oh, no, go ahead.
He's the main attraction of distraction.
He runs the show. Has plans to grow.
Yeah.
He's never going to get the gout because he's eating all those Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is clean. He is hopped up only on life. Ladies and gentlemen, our good friend and yours, Zach. Boy.
Bam, 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 bam.
What's going on, guys?
How you holding up, Zach?
It is what it is. It is what it is. That's all I can say. I was I was definitely like in my head yesterday, like when the news broke that the NBA players were going to play, and then just scrolling through Twitter and just seeing, for the most part on my feed, everybody was in support or in lockstep with the players and with their decision to not play. But I was definitely wasn't in a talkative mood. I know my mom, she was trying to talk to me a lot yesterday about different stuff, but my head wasn't wasn't in that headspace to talk to my mom at that point, because it was just, it's just so much going on, man. It's just so much going on.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, is it's kind of overwhelming. It is, it's so much to take in after what happened. So just to kind of give you the heads up on where we are, just kind of give you the news update. Yeah. As of yesterday, the NBA, there were 3 playoff games scheduled for yesterday. The Bucks were playing the Magic in the first one, but the Bucks did not show up on the court, and that caused a lot of confusion at first. And then the Bucks expressed to the Magic what was going on, and then they all sort of word started to filter out about that they were in fact striking, that they were not going to play the game, and the Magic agreed with them in solidarity. They also did not come out to play. They did not accept the forfeit of the game. So they could have just accepted a forfeit and been 3-2 in the playoff series, but they elected not to do that. Then at that point, it was about an hour of just pure chaos as everyone was trying to figure out what was going to go happen for the rest of the day.
Right.
And then you found, I think, the other teams sort of hastily met because the Bucks did not share their decision with anyone else before they did it. They kind of went out and did this on their own. Obviously, what happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
I kind of make it their thing.
It is their. I mean, that's they are the ones who are the closest to that. That's their community. So I get that, but they did not share that with anyone else, and so that caused everyone else to kind of scramble. The Thunder and the Rockets, the Lakers and the Blazers were scheduled to play. They all had to kind of get together. They all agreed to that they did not want to play either in solidarity. And the NBA released a statement that said, well, they're going to postpone the games, which, the players postponed the games. The NBA didn't postpone the games. The players postponed the games. And so,
the players just said they're not playing, and the NBA
exactly,
had to react.
right,
I mean, the players didn't say, "Well, we'll be back, in a few weeks." So that never came out of their mouth.
And the NBA said, "Well, these games are going to be rescheduled." Well, again, that's
hopefully they will.
More hope on the NBA's part than anything else, but there's no guarantee of that as of yet.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. Then there was a meeting last night with the players that was, a lot of things have come out of that meeting. A lot of people were. Have discussed, some of the things. It depends on, who you've talked to, and lots of different reporters have talked to different players, apparently. So different bits of the meeting have leaked out. But what appears to be the case is that the Lakers and the Clippers, as of last night, voted not to play the remainder of the playoffs, to just be done with it, to walk away, to leave the bubble, and to go back into work in their communities, and to call off the season in protest of the situation involving police brutality and the killing of black people, in particular black men, in this case, in the country. The other teams apparently were not willing to do that at this point. There were some players who spoke up, some players who were concerned. Coaches were in the meeting for the first 90 minutes, and then the players asked the coaches to leave so that the players could talk amongst themselves without any coaches involved. David Aldridge of The Athletic reporting that the meeting ended ugly, and that LeBron and some others were LeBron and Kawhi. Brad Turner of the LA Times reporting that LeBron and Kawhi were the most vocal, and both of them saying that they wanted to end the whole thing, and were quite adamant about it. But other players were concerned about how the Bucks did it. They didn't like that they were sort of just put out there without having talked about it first, that they still wanted to try to play. Jaylen Brown reportedly said the Bucks don't have to apologize for anything. We appreciate what y'all did. So there's a lot of, obviously this is a huge undertaking, and there's going to be some dissent and some disagreement within the group, and so there is that. There's a meeting scheduled for right after we get off the air, 10 o'clock this morning, not only with the players who are meeting again, but also with the NBA's Board of Governors, a.k.a. the owners, are scheduled to have an emergency meeting at 10 o'clock to discuss what they're going to do. And it feels to me, Anthony, like the owners got to come up with something pretty big here.
The players literally have them by their manhood right now. So they're going to have to bust a move. And we can discuss throughout the day what that move could be. I mean, you hinted at these things yesterday. You talked about the power of the players, the leverage that they have, that they can get these. Because if you don't think the owners of these teams aren't connected to lawmakers in their state, it's just not how the world works. You know what I mean? So, yeah, these owners of these teams, because if you remember, Donald Trump met with the commissioners of all pro sports, including Vince McMahon. So these guys have influence. These owners of these teams are multi-billionaires in most cases, and they've got power. They've got power in politics as well, and they support certain officials. They support certain positions in office. So to think that these guys can't do more just isn't true. Something else that you said yesterday that kind of stuck out, said about what happened yesterday that stuck out was when I was first watching it and I saw how it played out. I said, okay, this feels strategic as far as the point of the Bucks not leaving the locker room and then Orlando coming down to the locker room.
Right.
And I thought it was all strategic. I thought they had talked. I thought that was the way they could set it up where it wouldn't come off as a what am I trying to say? Like it wouldn't come off as a forfeit or whatever. But when I was like, okay, that seems okay. I get that. So now instead of them quitting the game, both not coming out at the same time, with Orlando being out there, they can make the decision on how to handle the forfeit. I thought it was all strategic. But after you saw the later meetings and guys were going off like, well, why didn't y'all tell Orlando? And then Jaylen Brown was like, well, they didn't have to. Yeah, this is Milwaukee's thing. And I think they should get the credit for it because they're the ones that got the ball rolling. And it was their home game, so to speak, with the events happening in Kenosha, happening in their home state, for two of their players to step out. And two of their players had issues like this that happened with I know one of them was, let me see who the guys were again.
It was
Sterling Brown and John Henson. Mm-hmm. With those two guys, the incidents they had, Sterling Brown had a knee to his neck, punched by a Milwaukee police officer for parking incorrectly. This is what happened. And John Henson was out shopping for jewelry and had the police call him simply because he was black, didn't do anything. The people just thought that he wasn't supposed to be in the store, like he couldn't afford the stuff that was in there.
They locked to themselves.
And I'm sure John Henson probably was one of the richest people that was in that store that week or that month. I guarantee you that. But it's just sad, man. And then the same Milwaukee Bucks organization had some type of police officers' night twice this season, where officers who showed their badge got in free or discounted or some type of appreciation.
Well, they had the union, the police officers union, giving the game ball up in a pregame ceremony.
Yeah.
Before that, it's quite.
When you had two players on your team who had these incidents and you still go forward with these things, so shout out to Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Bucks, as well as the Milwaukee Brewers, for stepping up and doing what was right. Of course, the Bucks for kicking it off, being the first, and everyone followed after them. You talked about LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, the Lakers, and the Clippers. I'm not really sure if that was a kind of a reinforcement of power. That still feels calculated to me. This seems like a move where because, I mean, this is LeBron's league, and that's not just a basketball thing. This is – LeBron has a lot of power in this league. Kendrick Perkins talked about that yesterday. He has a lot of power. He has a lot of influence in this league. And for LeBron to say that we're not playing, as far as the Lakers aren't playing, I think there's still some strategy behind it. I believe that's still a power move that LeBron is making, more so than just absolutely you kind of get what I'm saying? Like, it kind of feels like it's more to that than just the Lakers and the Clippers say, okay, well, we're not going to play. You guys can play, but we're not. I think it's something still to come from that, some type of leveraging that LeBron is using. But, man, just to see these black men and empowered and making this move. We've been talking about this all week long, about where we stand as far as the protests go, whether the guys should play or not, whether they should have never came down there. I said this on Twitter. The fact that they started games and they started playoff games, and these guys are saying in the middle of the playoffs, nah, we're done. Like, that hits way harder than if these guys never went down there. The fact that everyone in the world was glued to their TV, everyone was glued to Twitter, everyone was seeing these men of color taking a stand. Men of color and everyone. You know, there aren't just black players in the NBA. Everyone across the league taking this stand to say, nah, something's got to happen. Milwaukee, you know, you got to do something better. Get the attorney general on the phone. Get whoever we need to talk to. And these guys.
And they talked to the attorney general and the lieutenant governor from the locker room, which is pretty incredible.
Of Wisconsin. I'm sorry. Now, I keep saying Milwaukee, but yeah, that's the type of move these guys made. And like I said, I talked earlier about how, you know, the NBA. I mean, racism isn't seasonal. You know, there isn't an off season for racism, so there's no good time to say, okay, it's time to go back and play sports. There's no good time for that. But with that being said, I totally support what these guys are doing. I absolutely get it. They're making a stand. They're making their voices be heard, and I don't know what their final end goal is. If it was only to get people to care or to get people to have conversation, I don't know what they're trying to do. If they're saying, well, we're not going to play until the justice is found in the Jacob Blake case, or Sandra Bland's murderers are persecuted. You know, I don't know what their goal is, but I totally support what they're doing, and it makes me proud to see how these guys stand up for this in this truly historical moment from yesterday. It
is a historical moment. It's the first time that we've seen a strike like this. Only the second time it's happened in modern sports. Both times with the NBA. The NBA, this was an exhibition game in 1961 was the last time this happened, when Bill Russell, with a handful of other Celtics, sat out because of extreme racism and racial chanting, racial shouting, racial extraordinary amounts of racism in the stands. And Bill Russell wasn't going to go out there and play. His teammates in solidarity did not play as well. It was a major thing in the NBA. We haven't seen, and that was an exhibition game. They almost did it at the All-Star game a few years later for similar reasons, and elected finally to go out and play, but it was close as to whether or not they would. But since then, we really haven't seen anything like this in team sports. We've seen some individuals. We've seen the U.S. boycott the Soviet the Moscow Olympics. We saw the Soviet Union at the time boycott the Los Angeles Olympics. We've seen that sort of thing, but from a justice for black folks in this country, from this standpoint, we've never seen anything quite like this, and it's an extraordinary moment in the country now. It was really inspiring to see. This is how change is done. I mean, this is how you use influence. This is how you use power. This is how you use the leverage that you have to change things and to enact and force people to discuss the things that need to be discussed. I'm fully in favor of player empowerment. I'm fully in favor of empowering folks, period, to discuss what goes on. This is what it's all about. And the owners ultimately are the ones who have to get this sorted out and figure this thing out. These are folks who are, in most cases, billionaires. 22 of the 30 NBA owners are billionaires. That's billion with a B. They have massive amounts of influence within their not only their cities but the world. And you're talking about guys like Steve Ballmer and Mark Cuban. Robert Pera has got he's one of the top 5 in terms of net worth right now because of the elevation of Ubiquity as a stock. And he's a worldwide guy. He's living half the year in the United States, half in Hong Kong and elsewhere. The Lazarys, the Bucks owners are private equity people that have hundreds of millions of dollars of investments around the world. These are influential people. This is how society works. And to be honest with you, this is historically black people have not had access to the capital and the influence and the ability to be in those meetings, because there's that word we talk about, hegemony, the ingrained power and the ingrained power structure and the money structure has been with white America for generations. And this is an opportunity for black people to wield this influence, this money, this platform that they have as a true weapon to push for change. And it is something that has not, been, you've never seen it before. But this is how the game is played.
Yeah.
Because this is how influence is wielded in Washington, D.C. all the time. Who gets the talk to, politicians and lawmakers? The people with money, the people who use that money, the people who have lobbies, who put groups together, who group together and wield that influence, the ones who have access like that. Well, what did the Bucks get? They got access immediately. As soon as this happened, they got access to the levers of power and had discussions. You had the governor of Wisconsin tweeting his support for the Bucks and trying to push legislation forward. This is black people using the system in a way that they've not had access to before, and it's a powerful thing. A lot of people find it very uncomfortable and disquieting, and you can see that in
that means mission accomplished.
You could see that in their reaction, but that is exactly the point. That is the way that it should be. The point of a protest is to make you uncomfortable. That is why it's so ridiculous for folks to dictate to Colin Kaepernick at the time not to kneel down. That's disrespectful. Can you protest in this? Can you protest? Dictating the terms of a protest is not for anyone else to do.
Right. I'm glad you
it's
said
never
that.
Acceptable. It's never, whatever it is never acceptable. It's too violent. It's not violent enough. It's too this. No, you don't get to make we don't get to make the term. We as in, I don't get to make that term.
I'm glad that you said that. It's a guy, the Chris guy that calls in every day. I had to block him on Twitter yesterday because I just can't entertain ignorance too long. And just being point blank about it. And he shared a tweet from someone where in Kenosha, local businesses were boarding up and saying, please don't destroy my business and spray paint all these reasons why not to do this and don't loot and please don't riot and tear down my, whatever. Mm-hmm. And like you talked about, people try to make the terms of how a protest should go, or you can only protest within these parameters, these type of things. I've never seen anyone ask a dog why he's barking if they saw the dog get hit. If they saw someone abusing a dog, I've never seen anyone say, I wonder why that dog's barking like that. Maybe the dog should be quiet. I'll say that first of all. And it's just imagine the audacity for the United States of America, to a country that was founded on violence and destruction and war and all these type of things, and taking things from people and burning things down and all these type of things over history. Imagine this country of all countries telling someone that you don't need to be violent to express yourself, or violent to get your mission accomplished. Every time I see that, I think it's the craziest thing in the world, man. Like, who are you to say how someone should respond? I talked about a dog earlier. If a dog's owner was constantly abusing him, would you be mad that he eventually bit that owner? Or would you want him?
Shot a dog 7 times.
Yeah, right. Would you feel some type of way about a dog biting somebody, biting a human being? Like, that's a natural reaction to that. Like, if I've seen other tweets, and I've seen this a lot of times. Like, people are getting upset at African Americans, the people of color, for wanting justice or wanting equality. How would people respond if we as black people did what really needs to be done, which is get even or get back on top? How would that look? You know what I mean? That's truly what should happen, because we aren't going out in the streets and, okay, let's just go kill random white people. That hasn't happened. We didn't do what this kid came and did with an AK and shot up. This 17-year-old kid did in Kenosha at a protest. We aren't out there doing that stuff. We're just saying, stop killing us. You know what I mean? Stop. And like I said, when Clay Travis was on this morning, he was talking about, well, what about black on black crime? And to that, I'll say, I've got a 6-year-old son, like I talk about all the time. I love my son to death. He's my avatar on my Twitter account. Gabe understands superheroes. He's a huge superhero fan, huge wrestling fan, huge superhero fan. The cops are supposed to be the good guys. They're supposed to be the superheroes in the street that are here to protect us. Everyone understands that the Joker does bad, the Riddler does bad, the Penguin, all these guys, Bane. Everyone understands those guys do bad stuff. And when they do bad stuff, they're brought to justice by Batman. If Batman went around killing people, he wouldn't be a hero anymore. People would wonder, why the hell is Batman killing people? You understand what I'm saying, Peter?
Oh, it'd be a super villain. I mean, he's a super villain. He would be a super villain because he's using his extraordinary power to perpetuate a system of It's just
right. He wouldn't be a hero anymore. He'd truly be a vigilante. Like he would be a bad guy. He'd be a supervillain. The Joker, those guys, they do what they do, and that still exists. And there's systems in place to deal with those guys when they do what they're not supposed to be doing. But the good guys aren't supposed to be killing people. A police officer's job is not okay. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah,
I thought we went to break. Yeah, we haven't yet. That's right. We way over break. Yeah. But yeah, I can do this all. I'll be here all day.
Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, 877.
It's R&R on Sports.
The word is out about R&R on Sports, where you've heard interviews from
Ken Griffith Jr., Dr. J, Hank Aaron, and many, many more.
R&R on Sports, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m., Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1.
Don't miss us.
First Bank is here to help you, whether you're a business looking for a loan to expand or refinance an existing one, a homeowner looking for a mortgage or home equity line, a consumer wanting to finance your dream car, or wanting a competitive rate on your CD deposits. Let First Bank try to handle your banking needs. Stop into one of First Bank's 3 local branches today, 6482 Poplar Avenue just east of International Paper, 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase, and 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or check them out online at firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey everybody, these new Chevy Open Road deals are spot on for fall right here in Olive Branch at All Star Chevrolet. And I'm telling you, you could save thousands of dollars and get that new Chevy you want today. Blazers, Equinox, Impalas, Camaros, get an all-new Corvette. Treat yourself. And more all-new 2021 Tahoes are on the way. Come pick out the one you want before it even gets here. And I'm looking at more new Silverados than you'll find anywhere. Come drive one. Drive them all. And don't forget to check out the certified pre-owned Chevys. If you don't find exactly what you want, tell them here at All-Star and they will find it and get it here fast with the best financing for everyone. Remember, it's not the Pike, not Collierville, not South Haven or Mount Moriah. It's gotta be Olive Branch, people. And everybody at All-Star Chevrolet has one job: to make sure you get a better deal, have more fun, and in record time. So find new roads to Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet or go check them out online at allstarautogroup.com.
Save now on your 2021 swimming pool at Family Leisure. Buy now at 2020 pricing and save your spot for the first installation of 2021. Patio furniture 20 to 30% off. Play gyms in stock. Beat the heat with an indoor game table or slate pool table. Pool toys and floats up to 30% off. Family Leisure, Whit Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Where family and fun come together. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions. You'll see the dedication in every single step. You'll see it in the smiles, when smiles are hard to get. You'll see it in the little things that add up to success. The caring and passion are the things that we love best.
Wolf Chase Lemon Brace is your Mid-South provider for orthotics and prosthetics. They are an ABC-accredited facility, and their practitioners are ABC certified. At Wolf Chase Lemon Brace, their services include artificial limbs, legs and arms, braces of all kinds, and custom molded inserts. You can call them today at 901-507-7821 for their location on Highway 64 in between Germantown Parkway and Appling Road, or visit them at their new location in Jackson, Tennessee. That number is 731-660-5900, or visit them on the web at wolfchaselemonbrace.com.
Wolf Chase Limb and Brace.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Welcome back to Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston.
Yes, I will be good, I promise.
Co-hosting Sports 56 Mornings is Anthony Sane.
That's great, man.
Now, back to Peter and Anthony.
You smell what The Rock is cooking.
The Rock got involved yesterday, pushed back the release of some information about a new film that he's working on.
Did he really?
Yep.
Didn't know that.
Yep. And he said, this isn't good enough. We have to work, fight. So,
look at The Rock. Remember, he's a person of color. Shout out to The Rock, man.
Shout out to The Rock.
Sometimes he forgets.
The Rock is like Tiger Woods, man. He's every race gets to claim him.
Everybody gets to claim him.
Everybody gets to claim The Rock, and he can claim anybody, and he does. He's like Tiger. He works the room depending on where the room is. He works the room in lots of different ways. Welcome back, Peter Anthony, with you on a pretty emotional, raw kind of day.
That it is.
History has been made, and perhaps more history to come today. On this Thursday, we shall see. It's going to be wet and rainy throughout. I know that, and it's going to be rainy for the next few days as the remnants of and I mean, not even really remnants. I mean, Hurricane Laura is still pretty powerful, coming through on land. Made landfall last night and is going north through Louisiana and Arkansas. It's going to dip over into northwest Tennessee and into the Boot Heel here in the next few days, and we're going to see in the area quite a bit of rain and quite a bit of wind, and just it's going to be pretty rough indeed. Now, as you mentioned, though, the way that things have gone and the timing of all of this, it wasn't necessarily planned, but it has had such an enormous impact because of the timing of when they did, and the fact that they've come down and worked so hard in the bubble for months and have done everything right to try to have these playoffs. But circumstances change, the real world changes, and with what happened to Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and again a reminder. Irrespective of whether he had a knife in the car, irrespective of what he was accused of doing prior to any of this, irrespective of whatever happened, he was shot point blank 7 times in the back. That is not how that's not how you go and get criminals. That's not how you arrest people. That's not how you deal with people. That's nothing that he did or didn't do or was accused of doing would ever justify anything approaching that level of response. Was just it doesn't happen. I mean, if you apprehend somebody, that's not how this works. Now, but I think, Anthony, what really heightened the thing and took it to the next level was the video that came out earlier this week. After that, during the protest, when you had this 17-year-old with a long barrel gun who was part of a group that was talking to and was given water by and appreciation by the police that were there, the police officers that were there in their Bearcat, like armored vehicles, poke the head out of the Bearcat saying, "Hey, we appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for being here," to these armed, basically militia, and throwing them water. Say, "You guys want some water?" And meanwhile, anyone else approaches, get down, all that. But these guys, "Hey, we appreciate y'all. Well, here's some water," and all that. One of those kids that took the water would just minutes later go and kill 2 protesters in cold blood, then walk right up to the police in these armored vehicles with people explaining, this guy just shot 2 people. And police let him walk right on through. Didn't do a thing. Certainly didn't shoot him 7 times in the back. Didn't even so much as attempt to apprehend him at that moment. Let him walk all the way through and didn't end up arresting him until hours later back at his home.
Why didn't he just comply though?
If you can't look at that situation within 24 hours of each other and understand why
the problem, understand that the issue isn't about complying, isn't about not committing a crime. Obviously, it's not about any of that.
And I think those 2 things happening so close together, right in the exact same jurisdiction, when you have that sheriff of Kenosha spouting just unbelievable racist stuff in his press conferences, and you have a significant problem in that the police jurisdiction there, many others, that I think the players just – you don't want to be someone's entertainment. Why do you love the players? 80% of the league is black. 80% of the NBA is black. They get millions and millions of people who watch every single day. Why do you love to accept them as a form of entertainment and then don't care about them as soon as the game is over?
Right.
You're fine with them being gunned down, shot, whatever happens to them. But hey, this is part of the entertainment. I mean, this is that's the way you treat animals. That's the way you treat.
Right.
It's you wouldn't even treat animals like that. People get mad if you treat animals like that.
Right. I'm glad you clarified that.
I mean, it's just so. I think, how do you get yourself motivated as a player to play a game when this is going on and when these are the stakes? And as the Bucks said in their statement, we expect a lot of each other. We demand a lot. We work very hard. We have a certain level that we expect ourselves to adhere to, but we also expect the community to adhere to that too.
Yeah, this is insane, man. Like you said, you talked about how people are able to be entertained by these black athletes, but as soon as they try to use their God-given right to protest or just speak their mind. I mean, guys come out and at a press conference say something, and people say, well, I just wish these guys would leave these politics out of sports. These guys aren't politicians. They're human beings that are speaking on human issues. So I don't understand how people can think that those things need to be separated from sports. If a guy's getting fouled and he feels like he's a guy's trying to hurt him, he's going to say, hey, this guy's trying to hurt me. Is that politics? Because he's talking about something that's, I mean, it's I just don't get people sometimes. And I had I frequent the Grizzlies Facebook streets often, and I had
you do. It's a dangerous place to go.
Saw a conversation yesterday. Looks like the lady might have. No, here it is. Lady goes off and she says this, and it bothered me so bad. An Hispanic gentleman goes into the group and he says that he never thought I would have to make a post like this in this group, but here goes. I don't live in the United States. He's a Grizzlies fan. I don't live in the United States, so what is happening doesn't affect me directly. But I find it incredibly sad that with me being an outsider can sympathize with what the NBA players are doing, and some Americans can't and are angry at the fact that players are boycotting. Players aren't objects of entertainment. Stuff affects them the same way it affects any person. They have the right to protest anything, and even more an issue close to so many of them. Games can be rescheduled. Actions speak louder than words. The reason why players don't want to play is because they don't want to take attention away from what is happening. And then this lady comes in, and she's not Hispanic, and she's not a person of color, and she says, I have to disagree with you that players aren't objects of entertainment. I have to disagree with you that players aren't objects of entertainment. I do believe they are. That's what they get paid to do. Why we buy tickets to go watch them play ball and entertain us people that can't play ball, LOL. I immediately came back and I said, first off, they aren't objects. So she comes back and says, I didn't say they were objects.
Oh, jeez.
I didn't say they were objects. I said they were entertainers for people like me who can't play ball, who likes to watch basketball, and they are lucky to get paid to do it. So, of course, I screenshotted her previous comment and asked her, did someone hack her phone? Because she literally just said that. And she's not in the minority, man. We see people who say ignorant things or say stupid stuff online, or they say this or these comments come out as they're not isolated. There are a lot of people who think like this lady in this Facebook group, that these black athletes that since I paid my ticket and I got my season ticket, we own these guys. They're at our leisure. They're supposed to do what we tell them to do. The same thing like with college basketball or college football and recruiting. If you're recruiting a kid, if your school is recruiting a kid, you're telling them how great he is on Twitter. He's amazing. Coming to Memphis, you'll love it. And as soon as this kid he goes to another school, he becomes a thug again. How many times have we seen that? Oh, he's a thug. Oh, he's not that good, or he's just a punk kid, or his dad's crap, or How many times do you see that, man? We don't need those kind of kids around here anyway. How many times do we see that often where people actually think that they own these professional athletes? How many times, Peter, have we been in press conferences and we forget who the richest man in the room is? It ain't us.
This is why I've always in all of these battles since time immemorial, every time that I've ever talked about any of this stuff.
Yeah.
I choose millionaires over billionaires. You know what I mean? Whatever contract, whatever contract whoever got, somebody's writing that check for that contract, and that person has the money to write that check and other checks and everything else in between. You know, people that are asking, it is.
But you get what I'm saying, though.
Oh, I mean, this is the humanity of black people in this country has often, almost always been diminished, and that is out of the playbook of racism. That is the playbook. You cannot, if you dehumanize somebody, then you can scapegoat them. You can blame them. You can say that they are. Look at all these in so many of the instances of when these instances of police brutality and killing of black men and women around the country. So many times they say, look, he had a look in his eye. He looked like he was gonna. I couldn't control. He looked like he was a monster. He looked like he was this. You see these elaborate descriptions that depict black people as animals or some kind of a monster type. That I couldn't control I just had to protect myself. And there's a constant dehumanization that has been going on for generations of black people, and what you are seeing within the NBA and so many folks, and I appreciate you talking about it. I appreciate Zach talking about it. I appreciate so many black people in positions of prominence around the country, in sports and elsewhere, just being real. And you saw the emotion of guys like Chris Webber yesterday, Robert Horry, and Marcus Johnson and Zora Stevenson on the Bucks broadcast, and raw emotion and humanity, and saying it is incredibly hard every day. Why do you think black people have bigger instances of high blood pressure, of stress-related disorders every single day to deal with these elements of racism? Big, sometimes they're small, sometimes they're enormous, but every day there is pressure piled upon in the vice grip, and it just feels, and it never ends.
Right.
And so the emotion of that is too much, and you're seeing that now. And I'm glad that people are seeing that, and I'm glad that people are seeing the toll that it takes. You can't just be you're not a robot. This is real, man. Yeah. And my heart breaks because we shouldn't put that on athletes. We shouldn't put that on black people. We shouldn't put that on anybody to deal with that. Yeah. It's too much.
They have the right to process this however they want. And we joked this week about how we talked about appropriation in sports, and we talked about upper middle class and suburbia living vicariously through black athletes. And we joked about that this week, and with Tony Allen and Zach Randolph and the Memphis versus everybody stuff and Memphis AF and all these type of things. Like, where are y'all at now, man? You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Like, y'all was down for the cause when it was about, grit and grind and we don't bluff and whoop that trick and all that type of stuff. But now here we are, and you're saying these guys don't have the. No, it's not the majority. I think the majority of people who watch this stuff, at least verbally, are not that ignorant. But there's still some who who literally see these guys as objects. They look at these guys like something they pay for. Mm-hmm. My season ticket validates me having the opinion that you should just get out there and entertain me during the COVID-19 or these type of things. So, like I said, man, it's racism isn't seasonal. These guys aren't going to end racism, and regardless of what protests happen, I joked about this on Twitter. This isn't Avengers Endgame. Like, we're not going to beat Thanos and then racism goes. That's not how it works.
I wish, man.
It's like it's not like all the NBA players going to come together. LeBron's going to put on the Infinity Gauntlet and beat Thanos. That's not how this is going to end at all. And that's not how protests are going to end. Like, there's no
racism is not the end boss in the video game.
Yeah.
Man. Let's power up. We powered up.
You're going down today, racism. Like, that's not how it works. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
you can't. But you can't. Again, you cannot. It's the old Confucius thing. The longest journey begins with a single step.
Exactly.
You cannot. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is now.
Right. Yep,
You have to start it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to start it somewhere. This is a major starting point in what can be a life changing and generational changing thing. But it's going to take a long time.
Yeah, I know we got to go to break. I just throw this out there. Like
Zach's coming through.
I know we talked about
start swinging on you.
Right. We talked last week about we talked about power. How I said I wish these guys would play because we need their resources. We need these guys to be able to back guys who are out on the front line, back these organizations who go out and protest, back lawmakers, these type of things, back candidates who can come in and make change. That's the reason why I want these guys to keep playing. But there's a whole nother element when they literally take these billionaire owners and say, look, if you want us to keep doing what we're doing, if you want this championship, you need to if you want to make money, if you want to whatever you want to do, you're not going to do it at our expense. You're going to use your influence to holler at your boys at Capitol Hill, your boys in local government, your boys, the governor or whoever, lawmakers, and make some change. And this is a beautifully calculated move by the NBA. I love what they're doing. I applaud what they're doing. And even if they just do it even if yesterday was the only day they do it and they come back and they say they're going to play, I hope something is resolved from it. And I'm as a black man, I'm excited to see what these guys are doing.
We'll come back. Lots more to get to as we continue. Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
Want to get your voice heard? Hit us up on the First Bank phone line or First Bank text line.
Hey, it's me, your cousin, from Boston. I'm on the radio doing ads for Sam Adams. Now I'll be known as the Sam Adams guy instead of the dude who fell in the quarry. Sam Adams Boston Lager is crisp and refreshing, which is why I bring a six-pack wherever I go, except the movies. Anymore. Sam Adams, from Boston with love. Here's the legal part. Watch how fast I can read. The Boston Beer Company, Boston, Mass. Drink responsibly. Now, is that 30 seconds? Are we even close?
Back to work at that job? The one you realized isn't for you? Well, that's if you're lucky, right? Make your move. You can start a new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months from the comfort of your own home, even if you have zero computer experience. Take control of your future now. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Live online classes meet just twice a week. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
I'm here with outstanding team from Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway. They're online at lexusofmemphis.com. Gary, tell everyone how they can experience the Lexus of Memphis satisfaction.
Come in and be a part of our family at Lexus of Memphis. Experience the customer service that we provide to each guest like a member of our own family. If you're on the side of the road and you need us, we're there. If you need help with anything with your car, technology, Bluetooth, the app suite, we have a dedicated team to help you with this in your journey with your Lexus.
That's how they do it at Lexus of Memphis.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
All 75 months at 2.99 APR. G4 LHFO 7857. Outlander LU 029538. Eclipse LZO 15617. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 59875. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through the end of the month. Dealer stock only.
It's time to fully charge your summer with great savings from Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. You'll find 0% APR for 60 months plus $500 cash back. Drive your ambition in a new 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, $139 a month, or buy for $12,435. 41 MPG Highway. 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport is ready for any adventure at $229 a month, or buy for $18,573. And cross over to summer in a 2020 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, $19,107 or $229 a month, backed by a stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Mirage G4, $139 a month. Outlander Sport, $229 a month, and Eclipse Cross, $229 a month. Get to Gossett Mitsubishi today, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Welcome back to Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston.
Yes, I will be good. I promise.
Co-hosting Sports 56 Mornings is Anthony Zane.
That's great, man.
This hour is brought to you by Acura of Memphis. Now, back to Peter and Anthony.
Turn it up!
Too cool.
That was interesting.
Turn it up!
Too Cool and Rikishi, right?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I know this, but it wasn't coming to me. Yeah. Shout out.
Too Cool.
Yeah,
and
this is
Rikishi,
Scotty Too Hottie.
Scotty Too Hottie and Grandmaster Sexay, R.I.P. Brian Christopher, Brian Lawler. It's we're gonna talk a little wrestling coming up with Dustin Starr in an hour or so. So we just had it's been a unusual show, obviously with what's going on in
that it has
pretty heavy discussions. We'll talk more in hour number 2. We'll see. Evan Barnes is probably going to join us. Evan's working on a few things, but I think he's going to be able to join us at the bottom of the hour to talk a little bit about these sorts of things that are going on and just kind of talk about how this is what's happening right now, because this is raw and real and all those things, man. This is it, man. This is what it is, and it's huge. It's an opportunity to change the narrative and an opportunity to enact real change, and it could be, this could be the end of the playoffs. This could be the end of the bubble. It could be. We'll see. There's a meeting coming up at 10 o'clock with the players. LeBron and the Lakers and Kawhi and the Clippers have already voted not to continue the season. I don't know how you could continue the season
without those teams.
Without those two teams that are two of the favorites to win. I don't really know how you could continue the season. That's
why I think it's a power movement. I think
any legitimacy. But
I think that LeBron and Kawhi have gotten together and said, "Hey, man, like we need to. If we do this, they'll know that we ain't joking. Especially if it seems like other guys want to play, but we ain't playing. To just show the NBA, you could try to do this without certain players if you want. Do it without the Lakers, the LA teams, and let's see how
do
they
it without
work.
LeBron. Do it without, see what happens there. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's a power move. And if it is, shout out to him. Shout out to the King. Shout out to the GOAT.
It's Hey, and you know what? I was thinking about this yesterday. I didn't really tweet it out because I felt like I didn't want to diminish the power of the moment. But if I'm kind of halfway joking, saying this is LeBron getting one over on Jordan. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. Jordan wouldn't have done this. He'd have been there with us.
I mean, literally, Jordan is an owner. You know what I mean? Like LeBron is literally. This is literally LeBron versus Jordan right now.
And people talk about Jordan does stuff behind the scenes. Okay, we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see soon.
Yeah.
You're an NBA owner, Michael Jordan. Let's see what you do. Shout out to the Battle of the Goats. We finally get to see it. The Battle of the Goats.
This is the Battle of the Goats right here. This is the real Battle of the Goats right here.
Man, let's see.
All right, hour number 2 on the way. Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Hey everybody, these new Chevy Open Road deals are spot on for fall right here in Olive Branch at All Star Chevrolet. And I'm telling you, you could save thousands of dollars and get that new Chevy you want today. Blazers, Equinox, Impalas, Camaros, get an all-new Corvette. Treat yourself. And more all-new 2021 Tahoes are on the way. Come pick out the one you want before it even gets here. And I'm looking at more new Silverados than you'll find anywhere. Come drive one. Drive them all. And don't forget to check out the certified pre-owned Chevys. If you don't find exactly what you want, tell them here at All-Star and they will find it and get it here fast with the best financing for everyone. Remember, it's not the Pike, not Collierville, not South Haven or Mount Moriah. It's gotta be Olive Branch, people. And everybody at All-Star Chevrolet has one job: to make sure you get a better deal, have more fun, and in record time. So find new roads to Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet or go check them out online at allstarautogroup.com.
Frontier Western Store is open and ready to serve you for all your needs in boots, apparel, pet food, and more. Frontier is proud to be a local leader here in the Mid-South when it comes to boots. Stop by the store today for an incredible selection of name brand work and dress boots. Come browse aisles and aisles of top quality boots at everyday low prices in our world famous boot showroom. Dan Post, Rocky, Durango, Twisted X, Georgia, Ariat, and many more. There are so many styles, colors, and fits available, you might need a hand picking out your favorites. Luckily, Frontier's knowledgeable sales staff will cheerfully assist you with any questions you have and ensure the proper fit of your new boots. Frontier also has an amazing selection of jeans and shirts by Wrangler, Ariat, and Carhartt, as well as a fully stocked women's boutique department with thousands of tops and dresses at unbelievable prices. New arrivals often. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Gilman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
Kids' days are filled with adventure, and Go-Go Squeeze is there for every run, jump, step of the way. Made from wholesome ingredients like 100% fruit and veggies, real yogurt, and no artificial anything. In Go Anywhere pouches, so our kids can keep going wherever their adventures take them. Go-Go Squeeze, you make the memories, we'll make the snacks. Find us in the applesauce aisle. Let's go!
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston.
Yes, I will be good, I promise.
Co-hosting Sports 56 Mornings is Anthony Sane.
That's great, man.
Now, back to Peter and Anthony.
Can you dig it, sucker?
There we go.
Can you dig it,
sucker?
I got a funny story with this.
Hour number 2 begins with a funny story from Zach. I did not expect that, but there we go.
So I used to watch wrestling when I was younger. I don't watch it now because I'm not as interested, but I still keep up with it from time to time. Mm-hmm. So when Booker T was making his entrance, can you dig it, sucker? I remember as a kid watching his intro when he came in, and I remember like screaming that in the house. And I don't know if it was my dad or my mom. I want to say it was my mom. Like, she heard it and she was like, "What did you say?" I was like, "Can you dig it, sucker?" She was like, you ain't watching this no more.
Not shocked to hear that, Zach.
No, that seems like that's inappropriate in your house for sure.
No, at the time I thought, wait, what did I say wrong? Like, he said it, like,
yeah, can you dig it, sucker? That's
right.
What I mean, yeah, it's a good question. It's a fair question.
Right. As a kid,
did you do a spin-a-rooney in front of her? Did you get down like this?
No, I couldn't. No, that definitely would have been a whooping, like on site. But at the time, I was like, wait,
not if she can't catch you.
No, like my mom is quicker than you think.
Because in a black home, especially a black Christian home, anything new, anything I don't know what you're doing is reason to get a spanking.
That's
like anything.
I've heard that.
Yeah, it ain't gotta be particularly wrong, but if it's something I ain't never seen before. Come here, let me whip your tail. Like,
the default is just a whooping.
Just a whooping. Yeah,
probably you're too quiet. Something must be going on up there. Let's get a whooping.
But then after realizing what I said, I'm like, yeah, like I don't think like a young kid needs to say, "Can you dig it, sucker?" like as loud as possible.
Well, Gabe says worse, so.
Oh, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Gabe's out here just dropping F-bombs. So, It's a good thing that Anthony's home is a little different.
The rules are a little more lenient.
For Gabe's sake, I'm glad. I'm glad of that. Welcome back. It is hour number 2. A cloudy, rainy kind of day, and going to be cloudy, rainy for the next few days. A historic day. We've talked about the strike that the NBA players are on, and really a lot to deal with for a lot of folks. Just thinking about what is really happening right now. It's an extraordinary time. In this country, and we've kind of tried to chop it up as best we can, but for those that I don't know how you didn't see it, but all the NBA teams started by the Bucks decided not to play. They are on strike, demanding justice, demanding change, demanding substantive change, and they're going to meet this morning to probably put a little more meat on that bone in terms of the specifics about what they are asking for and what they plan to do in order to accomplish that. The first step was yesterday. Moved by those players, you saw other sports respond. MLS, 5 matches were postponed. The WNBA, a very powerful statement made that they did not play any of their scheduled games down in the Wubble. And they had the shirts. I don't know if you saw those shirts that they were wearing with these 7 gunshot wounds in the back.
No, I didn't see that.
Kneeling down, and they knelt for the national anthem with their fists up, and then walked off the court at that point. So credit to them, and they've been on the forefront. The WNBA players have been on the forefront of this as well. So those women have been very powerful, and big kudos to them for all of that. Major League Baseball, 3 of the games were canceled, including Dodgers Giants, and I know Mookie Betts. There's just not a lot of black folks in baseball, but the ones that are there were moved. I know Mookie Betts said he was moved by his white teammates and by his Hispanic teammates, and the support that they felt from that. I know that David Ross, the manager of the Cubs, got emotional and left a Zoom meeting when he was asked about Jason Hayward and how he was dealing with all of this. And so, even in Major League Baseball, NHL conspicuous by its presence, not so much by its absence, but otherwise extraordinary. To even players like Naomi Osaka, who is black and Japanese, a tennis player, one of the best tennis players in the world, she decided not to play her tennis match, and so as a result, the Southern and Western Open, they are not playing any of the matches. None of the players are playing in their matches today in solidarity with her. So they are taking a pause in the activity. So it's brought a lot of the sports world, Anthony, to a standstill. It's really truly something that we've never seen it on this scale, and we've never seen it like this. It's really it was an amazing day, and it's going to be an amazing day today.
Yeah, I totally agree. I hate to shine light on ignorance, but I want to read a couple of the texts that came out because I have an interesting article that happened about 6 years ago that I want to shine some light on as well. That's a perfect answer to the nonsense that people get up early in the morning to say sometimes. A guy says, let me see, where did he say? He said, what y'all don't understand is that when businesses are burned down and people lose their business, you don't bring people together, you piss people off. Where is the protest for all the innocent, I guess is what he's trying, innocent victims of the protesters? What he's talking about, I have no clue, because I've never seen any event where protesters are just going out here killing people. So I don't know what he's talking about. He says, where are the protests for the innocent victims of the protesters on the front line? If this was about valuing life, we would see that, but this isn't about making change to make life better, unfortunately, whatever he's talking about. Entertainers, athletes, etc., media, sports, gays, if y'all want to keep throwing your hearts in the rain with felons, six felons, guys reaching in cars with weapons, resisting arrest, burning buildings down, beating up people, protecting their homes, harassing people at restaurants, y'all go ahead. I think I'll take my side that doesn't support crime and felons. So basically, this is another why not comply type response or whatever from this guy or whatever he's talking about. Why didn't you support Drew Brees for speaking his mind? And it's just nonsense. I'll bring up a story that happened here in the city of Memphis about 6 years ago. It says that a Memphis police report read like a police television drama as 5 Memphis police officers stared down the barrel of a loaded gun. Police says that, I won't say the name, was sitting in his car on Oakland Street on Monday night when police realized that his vehicle may have been connected to a call about shots fired earlier that month. So basically the car matched the description of a car that was in a shooting earlier that month. When officials walked up to the car, the man allegedly ran away. Neighbors told WREG that officers caught the man in front of a church. Police documents revealed that the man pulled out a gun and told officers, "You're going to have to kill me." So, Peter, this man had a gun in his hand. He pointed it at the officers that were there, all 5 of the officers that were there. He wasn't threatening to have a gun. He actually had a gun. He pulled it out at the officers. Said, "You're going to have to kill me." While his statements could have easily became a reality since he pointed the gun at each officer, the report said the police were able to grab the gun and slap cuffs on his wrist. Quote says, "You want quality officers that have the ability or will take the time to disarm somebody even though they have a weapon." Michael Williams, president of the Memphis Police Association, said, "If they have the opportunity now, don't get me wrong, if they didn't have the opportunity, they would have shot that guy." Police were not aware that they were up against a killer. Dale pled guilty to first-degree murder in 2002. Oh, the guy. I hate to say his name. I apologize. Williams said that officers are trained for situations like this, which happen more often than the general public is aware. The man is expected in court Wednesday morning. This happened 6 years ago. This is an incident where a man pulled guns on Memphis police. And I'll be honest with you, I know one of these officers, and he talked to me about this event yesterday. And he said that someone asked him, "Why didn't y'all just shoot the guy?" And they said that didn't even cross my mind. Our job was to bring him to justice and to protect ourselves. We didn't see a necessity to kill him even though he had a gun pointed to us. We knew how to apprehend him, how to properly disarm him, and keep the party going, so to speak. And he was telling me that the incident that happened in Kenosha is bullcrap. He was like, there's no reason for them to have shot that man at all. If the man was walking to the car, they had several opportunities to tackle that man. He said there were several officers. They could have just gang tackled him. The issue would have been over. It wouldn't have been anybody killed. He said when something happens like that, those people had it set in their mind that man was going to die. When that encounter first started, they had it set in their mind that they were going to kill him. And he said that happens because officers are hired that are afraid of the communities they work in, like you talked about, afraid of the people they work with that they're supposed to protect and serve. They have no understanding of the community. They live nowhere near the community. They have no connection to it. And they are cowards. And he said that that's exactly what happened, and that there's no excuse for what happened in Kenosha. And to see a situation here in Memphis where guys had guns pulled on them, and they still handle this without having to kill this man. I don't want to hear the stuff about why didn't he comply or why this and why that. And you look at the situation with the kid that was shot by the U.S. Marshals. They're trying to charge this kid for a crime now. The kid that was killed by accident by the U.S. Marshals here in Memphis. They're trying to say that he was guilty of a crime, and it's just disgusting, man. And it's like I said, I'm not going to explain this stuff to these people, but I will shine a light on ignorance sometimes just to remind people how stupid, how ignorant people can be with the things that they say. Now, am I saying every time something happens, go burn down buildings, go burn down houses? No, but don't consider me looking at those guys as a victim. When the actual victims do have something to be upset about. Now, am I saying that violence is the answer? No, but I'm not gonna root it out because stuff happens. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So that's all I have as far as that goes. But just wanted to shine that light on that story to show that there is an alternative other than shooting an unarmed man. Even if he's headed to his car, you had ample opportunity to stop this man from doing what he had to do, doing what he wanted to do.
Well, this is. I mean, there's so much reform that is needed within police, and as we talked about yesterday, I feel like we ask police to do everything, but we don't train them in the way to do any of it. And you just the solution, and I've seen Mayor Strickland talking about it. Obviously federally, there's been more officers. More officers is not better trained, better officers, better relationships. I think it's vital to live in those communities, to see those people as your neighbors and friends, not as adversaries, not as the enemy, not as savages, as so many people seem to see them as just like I got to strap in and put on my riot gear and get the tank out and I'm going into the war zone. Like, no, this is a neighborhood. This is just these are people. Like, that's you enter with that mentality, and that's going to affect the way that you approach people and the way that you see people and the way that you see what you perceive as a threat, quote unquote. It changes the game completely, and it's a systemic issue in terms of how we police in this country. But I want to say, to go back to the discussion about, people always find a way to be distracted from the main point, and they do this. They do this willingly. I mean, they do this willingly. They don't want to deal with it. But I would say this: in this country, we have to go back and look a long way to think about where this all came from and where this has happened. You have to look historically, and it's a hard look for white people. It's a hard look for folks to realize what has been perpetrated, what has happened in this country. And it doesn't mean that I specifically did it. But I have benefited from it, and it is the fact that there has been a systemic racial discrimination, violence perpetrated, not only literally, but figuratively, financially, everything else, in that has led us to the point where we're at right now. I mean, you have seen systemic discrimination in community housing. I mean, go back to the promise that was made at the Civil War and in the Emancipation Proclamation, the promise that 40 acres and a mule. That was the promise, and that promise was rescinded by Andrew Johnson in Reconstruction, a disastrous era that paved the way for the lynchings and the terrorism, domestic terrorism that was perpetrated on black people for generations. Thousands and thousands of black people lynched and scared, fearful in their own neighborhoods. Black Wall Street, Tulsa, a middle-class neighborhood burned down. In Memphis, middle-class black neighborhood burned down. In so many other cities, redlining, putting black people into specific areas and not into other areas. It even continues to this day. There was an article yesterday about a mixed-race family where the wife is black, the husband is white, and they had their home appraised. And their home was appraised, and the first time the appraiser came through, it was the black wife who was there, and they had a bunch of pictures of various black figures in their house, as they would. The appraiser came back with a value. It was $330,000, way below anything else that was in that neighborhood. Then they had it reappraised. Same company, reappraised, but this time they took all of the black imagery down in their house, replaced it with neutral imagery, and had the husband there as opposed to the wife, who was white, and their house was appraised for $460,000. The next day, the same house. That's $130,000 of value that was stolen.
Maybe she should have just complied. Maybe she just should have complied, Peter.
And this is what I'm saying. So it goes way deeper than any of this stuff. This is a systemic, continual issue. And so we talk about it has to end, and for it to end, we have to start not just hoping that it ends and not just saying vote, not just saying all these. I mean, that's all good. Voting's good. All this stuff's important, but it has to there has to be real serious change. We talk about these owners putting their financial clout into it. And the owners, to their credit, have said, okay, we're going to spend $300 million on social justice initiatives over the next 10 years. That's something that they did a few months ago. Okay, that's good. That's credit to them. But I was just looking at Robert Parra. Robert Parra is worth $11 billion as of right now. And in fact, last year was rumored to be purchasing a house in Sydney, Australia, that was on the market for about $75 million. So if he's willing to spend, in that neighborhood of money, $75 million, that's each owner is contributing $1 million per year for the next 10 years towards justice, towards social justice. Now, they spend probably 5 to 10 times that on just personal stuff, on just whatever's going on. It's time to put the money where your mouth is. It's time to take the money that is out there, that if you claim your employees, you have made your money, you have made your value based on this business that is 80% black, that is young black men are the employee base. Is their unique talent that allows you to make the kind of money that you're making. You have to support them, not just in words but in deeds, not just in like sayings but in action. Don't talk about it, be about it. And that's where it has to start. Guys like Steve Ballmer, it's time to spend that money not on new facilities but on enriching the lives of the employees that have made you the money that we're talking about.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And you got people who just flat out don't get it. And you talked about systemic racism. Man, that stuff can go so deep, and people don't understand. They think that they look at situations and they say, well, if black people are acting out like this, there must be something wrong with black people, but not asking themselves how black people got in the situation that they're in. And if you took the time to dig into that, that's a very deep rabbit hole to go down as far as systemic racism is concerned. But I just challenge anyone to go down that rabbit hole, because they really don't get it. They really don't understand the effects of slavery, the effects of civil rights and inequality over the years, and the things that you see, they're by design. It's not that black people are this inferior race that doesn't have anything better to do than kill people and rob and steal. There are things put in place that have a lot of my people in those type of situations. I'm someone who worked in the inner city with kids for many years, mentoring programs, full-time mentoring. It wasn't just a weekend thing where I take a kid to a Grizzly game or something. It was hands-on daily mentoring kids that I still have relationship now as adults. And this guy is saying something like, this guy in this text is saying, why don't you guys do something about black-on-black crime? Well, you ain't talking to me because I do it. You know what I mean? So I'm at here all the time advocating for change and advocating for education and mental health issues for these kids, and just wishing I could even do more, and I will be doing more. So, but that's a totally unrelated issue, like we talked about. Black-on-black crime is terrible. White-on-white crime is terrible, because guess what? People kill themselves. If you look at crime numbers, white people are killing white people, black people are killing black people, Hispanics are killing Hispanics, so on and so on. Asians are killing Asians. There's not much crossover as far as murder is concerned. And if you look at the numbers, the percentage rates for white-on-white crime actually are higher than black-on-black crime. So you can push whatever narrative you want, but regardless of any of that, the job of the police is to protect and serve, and to bring people to justice, not to be executioners, not to be out here in the street giving people the death penalty, instant death penalty in the street. That's not their job at all, regardless of how people want to look at things. But there are more things that I'll talk about after the break as well, as far as because we're making so much of this a police thing, and it's a much deeper issue than the police department. And we'll talk about those things as well.
I mean, it's just interesting. It's interesting to me, though, before we take the break, it's just interesting to me how we want to parse the because you want to talk about you can parse it however you want to parse it. Do we talk about male on male crime or female on female crime,
right,
or do we talk about American on American crime?
Right.
I mean, like you can split it up however you want to characterize crime. It's racist and loaded to do it in the way that folks are doing it. And it's obviously, I think if you just spend, a moment to really think about it, it's beside the point of what we're talking about here, because you're talking about a systemic racial discriminatory force that is empowered by the country to have weaponry and be able to go into neighborhoods with impunity and be able to kill people. Like the police are different than regular folks. They are empowered to be different than regular force. We give them, as a society, a license to use force, and sometimes deadly force, with the agreement that it will be used only in cases when it is absolutely 100% necessary for the safety and well-being of society. And that pact is being broken on a regular basis. That's a totally different thing than some other shootings or killings or whatever, which are tragic and shouldn't happen. Do you want to talk about why there's so many guns? Do you want to talk about that issue? Do you want to talk about gun control? Do you want to? I mean, there's many different factors of this. If you want to get into it, we can. But it is racist to stick to that one talking point without looking at other ones, without deciding to parse it in so many different sorts of ways.
Why don't the schools in Germantown look like the school? Why don't the schools in South Memphis look like the schools in Germantown? Like that's how did it get like that? You know what I mean? And because those schools in the neighborhoods, city, and because those schools aren't the same way, and because these kids can't go to a grocery store in their neighborhood or all these type of things, what do you expect the end result to be when there's such an education difference, there's such a resource difference, there's such a there's so many differences between access to anything. If those things exist, what do you expect the end result to be? And I'm the person who will say that those things are by design. That's what systemic racism is, when you're constantly putting things in place to keep a certain demographic down or keep them under your thumb. Those are the results of that. Black people are a proud, powerful people. We aren't the lowest form in the world where we're just out here, we just got the mentality to kill each other. Now, if you want to look at history, you will see if you want to look out through history, you'll see some different, as far as who the murderers and killers are, you'll see some different numbers, so to speak. But it's like, when people come out and say, well, they're killing each other, so I guess we should just be killing them too. I guess is what they're saying. I guess the police should be killing them too. I guess is what they're saying. But that's not the police's job, man. The police's job is not to execute people. It's not to issue death penalties. It's to bring people to justice, and that's not being done. When black on black crime or whatever crime happens, those guys are brought to a trial. They're brought to justice, and they go to jail. When a police officer kills someone, they go on like nothing happened. That's the problem in America that has to be addressed.
We'll come back and we'll talk to Evan Barnes about this and more issues. Evan, who obviously covers the Grizzlies, also has covered the Tigers, and been very busy over the last little bit. We'll talk to him about all these issues as we continue here from the Family Leisure Studios, Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
Check out Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy with Sports Time on Sports 56. Weekdays from 3 to 6 on Sports 56, 96.1 FM and 87.7 FM.
Commitment, dedication, perseverance. At FedEx, our people are our strength. Even during these unprecedented times, we are delivering medical supplies, test kits, and the things you need every day. Helping the world move forward together. Strength, what we deliver by delivering. FedEx.
It is time for the final clearance sale at James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center. Listen to this, 70 to 80% off on all spring and summer merchandise. You heard me, James Davis, 70 to 80% off on all spring and summer merchandise. Unreal selection of sports coats and sports shirts for your next Zoom call. Limited selection of shorts and knits, but there are some. If you get there, you'll get 70 to 80% off. Here's some of the brands you can save on during this incredible sale. Peter Millar, Sandstrom, Mac 5 Pocket. I'm talking 70 to 80% off while it lasts. The only place in Memphis that you can find the Stant custom shirt and pants system. Only at James Davis, this exclusive store for this unique custom fitting apparel where shirts start as low as $98, pants at $168. Go see it to believe it. The clearance sale at James Davis.
All 75 months at 2.99 APR, G4 LHFO 7857, Outlander LU 029538, Eclipse LZO 15617, includes all rebates and incentives. PF 59875, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through the end of the month. Dealer stock only.
It's time to fully charge your summer with great savings from Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. You'll find 0% APR for 60 months, plus $500 cash back. Drive your ambition in a new 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, $139 a month, or buy for $12,435, 41 MPG Highway. 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport is ready for any adventure at $229 a month, or buy for $18,573. And cross over to summer in a 2020 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, $19,107 or $229 a month, backed by a stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Mirage G4, $139 a month, Outlander Sport, $229 a month, and Eclipse Cross, $229 a month. Get to Gossett Mitsubishi today, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Periscope. Don't miss out on anything. Stay in touch with Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 on social media. Welcome back to Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston.
Yes, I will be good, I promise.
Co-hosting Sports 56 Mornings is Anthony Sane.
That's great, man.
Now, back to Peter and Anthony.
It's rainy, cloudy. Going to be rainy and cloudy for the day and for the next little while. Big day. Lots to discuss. Get into the heavy stuff today because obviously it's a historic day. Potentially a very historic day.
Mm-hmm.
NBA players meeting at 10 o'clock. Owners meeting as well. And we're talking about it here. And going to talk about it with a friend of ours, friend of the program. From the Commercial Appeal, and at Evan_B on the Twitter. It is Evan Barnes who was kind enough to join us this morning. Evan, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, guys. I'm doing well. I think sleeping a little bit after yesterday kind of refreshed me a little bit, but obviously, as you guys mentioned, it's still kind of heavy and thinking about kind of what the magnitude is that we're watching right now. This is something that's incredible, emotional, just a lot.
Well, that's the thing is we talked about the magnitude of it and the I think to know to kind of get a perspective on what's happening, you have to go back and look at generations of stuff. I mean, this is an incredibly deep seated issue, but the fact that the players have done this now, Evan, what was your reaction when you first started to kind of come to grips with that? Okay, this is going to be a strike. Like they're not going to show up, and then these other teams. Now we're not going to play the rest of these playoff games. Okay, now MLS is not going to play 5 of these matches. Now Naomi Osaka is not going to play. Now some baseball games are going to be. What went through your mind? What was your reaction seeing all this unfold in real time?
So when it first happened, I was surprised because you always hear the idea of, and I guess we are calling this a strike, not a boycott, but I guess you always hear the idea, well, are players really going to do this? Are players really going to not play? I mean, when Donald Sterling, when that situation was going on during the playoffs, we were wondering, were the players not going to play? We were wondering, but of course they ended up doing it, but they also were really close to not playing. You always hear about this being a leverage tool, but you never think it's going to happen because, wow, it requires a lot of bravery and a lot of gumption and a lot of, great risk, But when the Bucks didn't come out, it really just kind of said, okay, this is going down. And then when it finally happened, I'll be honest, I wasn't proud. I was sad. I was sad because to get to this point, this wasn't a moment of like, well, yay, take a stand, take a stand. We're here because a man was shot 7 times in the back, and according to his father and his attorney, he's paralyzed. I wasn't happy or cheering. I was more like just sad because we're here because another black person was shot. We're here because black people have been targeted and not gotten justice. And I may be wrong saying targeted. I'm saying with the fact that they have not gotten justice. So we're not here because, wow, they're taking a stand on principle. They're taking a stand on principle because people are being shot. People are being, are dying at the hands of law enforcement. And they're hurting. Like you saw what Doc Rivers said on Tuesday. You saw what the Bucks were saying on Tuesday, during their interviews. You saw what the Raptors were saying. They were hurting. This wasn't a case of like, we're going to take a stand because we want to stick it to the man. We want to take a stand because we're tired. We're hurting. We're really in pain. And I cried. I honestly cried because it really that's when it hit me. Because honestly, when the news from Wisconsin hit, I was really kind of like, okay, here we go again. I wasn't upset at first because I was numb. Because this happens so often that it's hard to get up for every single case of when a black person gets involved in these situations, gets shot by law enforcement or killed by law enforcement like George Floyd was. It's hard to get up for this all the time because it happens so much. It's kind of like school shootings where you get shot, but you realize, for me, I've spent almost half my life in a world where school shootings are normal. for me, when people are killed by police or shot by police, it feels normal. And that's sad. So I was numb for a while because I'm like, it's happening again. But when the Bucks decided we are not going to play, I got emotional because it really kind of sank in the gravity of how much got to this point, how much blood has been spilled to get to this point. The steps that they took to get to this point are honestly covered in blood and pain and tears and hurt. So that's really what I felt. I wasn't just for like, wow, how powerful is this? I thought about the gravity of just how much blood has been shed to get here.
Well, it's been a long time coming, and now that it's here, it feels like the season and all of this is on a precipice, and it could go either way depending on the outcome of this meeting this morning. And owners are apparently meeting as well to discuss this sort of thing. And I saw the tweet yesterday from Chris Mannix, which kind of confused me a little bit about. He says to some, it's unclear what more owners can do. They've committed to the social justice movement. They've supported players during anthem demonstrations. They've committed $300 million over the next 10 years to economic empowerment in the black community. As we talked about in the last segment, I don't know if you heard of that, Evan, but that is essentially $1 million per year per owner over 10 years, which, I mentioned Robert Parra as an example, since he's a Grizzlies owner, is reportedly last year was looking at a house in Sydney, Australia, worth $75 million. So you're doing 1/75 of what a potential house is called. Robert Parra specifically is worth $10.8 billion. But more even than that, you have the Orlando Magic owner, the DeVos family. Betsy DeVos is a Secretary of Education right now. She is an owner of an NBA team, or part owner, and she happens to be part of the administration of the current president of the United States. Tillman Fertitta, Rockets owner, was on the Texas reopening committee in terms of pandemic response, is a direct and often frequent speaker to President Trump. The Lasry family has many connections in terms of private equity that speak directly to the administration. Jared Kushner is a friend of Adam Silver. Adam Silver described Jared Kushner as his de facto real estate person when the NBA was looking for real estate space in New York. So to say that the owners and the administrative and the folks in the NBA can't do more or don't have power is absurd to me.
Yeah, no, I saw what you said to Chris's comments, and I thought it was interesting because, these are the people really who we should be looking for answers for. Like, to put the burden on the players to have the answers, to have a plan, I find that to be a little bit wrong, because sports has always been kind of like working alongside greater issues in the world. Like, let's be perfectly honest about this. In the 60s, when, things were happening in this country, in 50s and things were happening in this country, the people who got things done were the people on the street, on the ground. Sports amplified that. Like, no, I realized this yesterday. Nobody told Bob Gibson to stop playing and get in the streets and work when he was pitching for the Cardinals. Nobody told Bill Russell to stop playing for the Celtics and get in the street and work. They did work from where they were. Same with Jim Brown. I know Jim Brown eventually retired early to do more work, but nobody told them to stop playing and, you're being a distraction right now to, get in the streets. They were able to do work from where they were and made an impact to support what was going on in the with activists and other people in the civil rights movement. So I think, to me, we put so much weight on the players to basically have this plan of action and all this stuff. But as you said, the owners are the ones with money. The owners are the ones with real relationships with people who can get stuff done. Like, I find it very much a problem in society. I think in sports, really, where we always look at the players so much for things in many different areas, but we don't look at the owners. And I think the owners are the ones who are the real ones who can do something. Like, yes, they donated money. They're going to donate money, but they're the ones who can put some pressure on. But honestly, we know that probably some of the owners, where they stand politically, they have a lot of friends who are Republican, because typically, Republicans offer a lot of tax breaks, and a lot of owners probably fall in line with that. So I think, the question is, what more can they do? And really, we should be asking the owners, because labor can only do so much. And I'm not saying that the players don't have the power, because LeBron clearly has so much power than, the majority of athletes we've seen in our lifetime. But it's time to get to the people who sign his checks and be like, hey, what can you do more here? Because you're the ones who can put some real pressure on, because frankly, money talks, and people with the most money and influence by that measure should be the ones out here advocating and doing a little bit more, because their players, their employees, the people that they supposedly care about, need them to add some more muscle behind this.
Well, that's the thing, the muscle, the actual movement and all of that. But I think people, Evan, I don't know, we were talking on Twitter and in text and stuff, and Anthony, we talked about it earlier this week, and I saw the reactions of folks, and it hurts to see that we're at this point. I mean, there's just a lot, man. And I feel I'm really proud of what the players have done, but I think it's so imperative that people understand that these guys are, and everybody, not just the players, but I mean anyone who's dealing with this stuff. And nobody's a robot, man. You can't just be asked to do your thing over and over and over again, and then have to endure and see these images on a regular basis. And it's traumatic. You can't function properly. It's a matter of your own personal health in addition to the systemic racism and everything else. It's a personal health, mental, and even a physical health issue. And so that's the part, Evan. I don't know how these players, I just don't know how you get yourself back up for a playoff game when all this stuff is really going on. I mean, this is just a different level.
Yeah, and I understand that, and I'm very cautious to say what the players should or shouldn't do going forward as far as games. I mean, we heard yesterday that the Lakers and Clippers basically said, they voted to say, hey, we don't want to play, and LeBron was kind of one of the leaders behind that. And I kind of hope that, as they had the second meeting today, that if they, sit and think about it, they slept on it, we'll see what they decide to do. But again, you're right. I mean, I would not be surprised if the games didn't happen today, if they pushed it back if they pushed it back another day, because guys just don't feel like it. Guys are hurting, guys are upset. And I think too, there's another level to this, is that they went to the bubble hoping that the games wouldn't be a distraction. They went to the bubble hoping that, we're going to amplify and raise our awareness on these issues, to use this platform that we have. But I also feel like that's an incredibly, I don't want to, and again, I'm not trying to criticize it, but I think it's incredibly naive to say that playing this game would have stopped Jacob Blake from being shot.
Right.
I just can't put that together in my head. Like, them playing right now had nothing to do with stopping or making sure, hey, we're not going to be a distraction. It would not have, made, what happened in Wisconsin not happen. It wouldn't have, other situations that have happened since, George Floyd, it wouldn't have happened. It would not have made Kentucky's Attorney General, bring charges against Breonna Taylor's killers. Like, there's no way that it would have raised awareness, but as we've seen, power does not always yield to pressure. So we have to realize that these games, even if they went to go play, the larger issues that are happening here are operating on a level way more than just, the noise that they're making inside the bubble, because that's just how power works. Power doesn't always yield to us or people saying, hey, we want this or we need this. Sometimes it does happen. Obviously, we've seen that in our history, but sometimes it doesn't. And it's okay, because awareness and exposure can only go so far. So I understand now if they're just feeling like, well, what can we do right now? They feel helpless. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if some of them said, you know what, we don't want to play today. We don't want to play for a couple of days. I wouldn't blame them either way. But I do hope they understand that it's not their fault if they don't want to, if they play or if they don't want to play. Like, these situations are way above, what we can tangibly do, because they're situations of power, and power will always, and excuse me, not just power, but systems. And systems always have a way of kind of evolving to keep us from getting the results that we want. So we have to push even harder, but at the same time, those systems are harder to crack. So I don't blame them if they don't want to play. I would understand if they did. I would understand if they didn't. I would just say, I would say for us as media, as fans, be very careful saying what they should do, because whatever they do, it is totally how they feel, and it does not reflect poorly on their decision or whatnot.
No. I mean, and I think that, anybody, particularly I speak to my white brethren out there telling, black folks what they should or shouldn't do this is not, it's not, certainly not for us to say one way or the other. That being said, the time is the arbiter here. Time is the function that we talked about. We've talked about these issues that they've taken generations, centuries to unfold. It is not something that happened yesterday. That shooting of Jacob Blake, the shooting of Breonna Taylor, the shooting of Ahmaud Arbery, the shooting of George Floyd. These are instances. These are symptoms and manifestations of something that has been going on, a disease that has been happening for hundreds of years. So it's not, no change is going to happen overnight either. We have to remember that, stretch out time. But think about Muhammad Ali and what he gave up in refusing to serve and refusing to go to Vietnam. He gave up 5 years of the prime of his career. He gave up millions of dollars. He gave up being perceived. He was spit on and mocked and ripped and criticized so harshly at the time, called a traitor, called all of this. And you look at the fullness of time, and what do people look at Muhammad Ali now as a hero? It is, history will be the judge of all of this. So I would encourage everyone not to jump to a conclusion about what is happening today, tomorrow, next week, but to think about what will happen 20, 30, 40 years from now, and what side do you want to be on, and where do you want to be perceived in the fullness of history.
Evan, what do you? Oh, I'm sorry, bro.
No, I completely agree with you said, Pete. Go ahead, Anthony. Sorry.
What are your thoughts on the LA teams saying that they plan on not? They think that everything should end, being that you're a guy from that area. What are your thoughts on the two LA teams making that stand yesterday in the meetings?
I mean, honestly, I think it goes back to what we said about LeBron. I mean, LeBron clearly is somebody who, feels pained by what's happened. And I'm not surprised that he would just kind of be the one who said, you know what, screw all this. Let's, go home and do stuff. Like, LeBron is putting things in action based on his power that he wants to try to, fix things. And so I'm not surprised that he would feel that way. I'm with the Clippers, again, after seeing what Doc Rivers said and, imagining what guys are feeling, I'm not surprised. And somebody brought this up too. Like, the other part of this is that guys have been in that bubble now for the best part of 2 months now. And they're probably feeling, agitated. They're antsy. As much as we talk about, how this is like this great summer camp experience, they're also away from their families, their people. I mean, I compare it to myself, where I, until recently, didn't see most of my friends here because I've been trying to, keep to myself or go to the store or whatever. So there is probably that feeling of like, you're antsy, you're agitated, and then this happens, you want to speak up more. So there's probably a lot of emotions in there. And again, I'm not surprised. I mean, George Hill, I believe with the Bucks, was the first person who kind of brought this idea up, and he was ready to go before his team was, before they talked about it. So I'm not surprised that LeBron would want to do this. That's why I said, earlier that I hope that they come back, they sit down, they cool out, maybe they sleep a little bit, see if this is what they really want to do. But, it says a lot that two teams that are willing to compete for a championship, in the Bucks as well, this is probably their best chance in at least 20 years where they could probably, compete for a championship. They're willing to say, hey, we're willing to put that on the line. I think it's brave. I think it's honestly brave. And as I said, it's sad, but it also is very brave of them to say, you know what, we're willing to throw that aside for something that's much bigger. So I guess we'll just keep seeing what happens.
It's that's really all you can it's all we can do right now, man. We appreciate it. Thank you for spending a little time with us this morning, Evan, in these crazy circumstances, and stay well.
Hey, appreciate you guys. You guys take it easy over there, too, all right?
Much respect, bro.
Thanks, Evan. Evan Barnes, terrific stuff from Evan. Follow him on Twitter at Evan_B. We'll continue the conversation when we return. Family Leisure Studios, Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
CenterPoint Energy takes many steps to help ensure the safety of gas lines in your community and shares important tips like the following. A distinct odor similar to rotten eggs is added to natural gas. If you smell it, clear the area and immediately call CenterPoint Energy. Plus, always remember to call 811 before you dig or begin an outdoor project. Natural gas is one of the safest fuels. To find more tips, visit centerpointenergy.com/gas safety.
Summertime and the living is easy. No more cutting or paying utilities. Literally, you guys, Town Village Audubon Park, nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Hey everybody, these new Chevy Open Road deals are spot on for fall right here in Olive Branch at All Star Chevrolet. And I'm telling you, you could save thousands of dollars and get that new Chevy you want today. Blazers, Equinox, Impalas, Camaros, get an all-new Corvette. Treat yourself. And more all-new 2021 Tahoes are on the way. Come pick out the one you want before it even gets here. And I'm looking at more new Silverados than you'll find anywhere. Come drive one. Drive them all. And don't forget to check out the certified pre-owned Chevys. If you don't find exactly what you want, tell them here at All-Star and they will find it and get it here fast with the best financing for everyone. Remember, it's not the Pike, not Collierville, not South Haven or Mount Moriah. It's gotta be Olive Branch, people. And everybody at All-Star Chevrolet has one job: to make sure you get a better deal, have more fun, and in record time. So find new roads to Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet or go check them out online at allstarautogroup.com.
I hate Tom's Tulip Shop. It just smells so flowery. Like we're good at your flower shop. You don't need to remind us.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
I needed a fake plant. They don't sell fake plants. Thanks for nothing, Tom.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial auto and business insurance.
Then he says, have a great day. I'll decide what kind of day to have.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text BICEP to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BICEP to 42424. That's BICEP to 42424.
Welcome back to Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston.
Yes, I will be good, I promise.
Co-hosting Sports 56 Mornings is Anthony Sane.
That's great, man.
Now, back to Peter and Anthony.
Hour number 2 wrapping up. We got hour number 3 coming up with Dustin Starr. We'll talk a little wrestling with Dustin. Got a caller, Tev, on the First Bank phone lines. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Let's go to Tev before we wrap up hour number 2. Tev, good morning.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Good, brother.
Good.
How
How
you
you
doing?
All right, man. I'm Tev Shakir, huge fan of the show. Just wanted to salute you guys on using the platform to speaking the truth and speaking what's right, especially when it's about Black lives, because our lives matter. I know y'all have a short time. Saying I actually want to talk to you about what we talked about on Twitter. I felt like it would have been too much to tweet, and I feel like it could have been really something that we can inspire, because I feel like we're both right, but let's do it.
Remind me what we were talking about. I kind of know, but I don't want to put words in your mouth.
For sure. So you said the tweet, the fact that they started the bubble, played playoff games, and are now protesting hits harder than if they never played at all. I disagree with that, but I wanted to hear why you feel that way.
I think it just made a bigger noise. The fact that they basically have the NBA literally by their balls right now. Like they've started this playoff that the NBA and the owners and the different teams are expecting this to happen and finish. They put all this money into testing and all these amenities for these guys and all these type of things. And now they basically said, hey, we don't care about any of that. We're about to stop this right now until we see a change. I think that's the bigger impact because, like I said, everyone's eyes were glued to the television. Everyone was on their phones yesterday. And this is still – here we are now having a 3-hour show dedicated to this strictly one event. We haven't talked about anything else. I don't think either one would have been counterproductive, but I feel like the fact that they did this in immediate response to something that happened, I just think it hits harder, me personally. I don't really think it's nothing to really have a strong debate about. I mean, I see your side as well, but I don't really have a strong take on this. Like I said this morning, I commend these guys for doing it, for expressing their right and their ability to not play these games. And I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't know if it'll last, just yesterday, this week or whatever they're doing. But I don't even know what their end goal is. I don't think they've clearly stated what their end goal is. But either way, I'm down for it.
But I feel like if they would have not played at all, would have hit harder for the simple fact that there is a lot more that could have been done instead of you going into the bubble and playing, Planet Fitness basketball with Tel Burrell. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's take the Kyrie approach. Kyrie, I had to go back and look at how he thought and actually apologize to him because he's right. Let's take this example that I had to put together. Imagine that we're watching, Planet Fitness, players playing at Planet Fitness, 10, 15, 20, whatever, of the best NBA players. You even add artists like a Quavo, give a J. Cole a trial, and you use a company like LeBron or Kevin Durant, company to stream it. You know what I'm saying? Imagine us being able to watch something like that in a tournament style rather than a bubble. You know what I'm saying? The ratings are already down TV-wise anyway, so it's like you need to do something over the internet.
Well, and also, too, the idea that the momentum of what was going on, the protests at the time when the bubble, kind of started and the discussion was happening, there were so many on-foot protests, and there still are in Louisville, and there still are in many cities, but it was a particular moment. I think some of the guys were concerned about taking away some of the momentum that was built up by leaving those communities and going to the bubble. And I agree that has taken a little bit of that momentum away. This may bring it back and then some, but I think there's something to be said for your point, Tev. I think that's fair. I think it's a good observation. We got to run. Thanks for the phone call. Appreciate it.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. We'll come back. Dustin Starr joins us on the other side as we talk a little bit about wrestling, and I wonder if WWE will get involved in any of this stuff. I
doubt it.
Me too. We'll see.
I doubt it very
Family Studios. Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 115 years. I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. So easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. Stock up heavy on all of your favorite Dinstall's treats 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
Hey folks, I'm Jarrett Carter. My family recently purchased East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quince and White Station, and we're excited to offer the best selection of Big Green Egg and Traeger grills. And then don't forget about our Benjamin Moore Paint Studio and the Garden Center for flowers. Save 60% with our new Duracell key fob replacement program. We have a master locksmith service as well as glass cutting and screen repair. East Memphis Ace Hardware, located at Quince and White Station behind Three Little Pigs.
There's a new commissary in town. In Collierville, Germantown Commissary is doubling. Yeah, they're still going to have the old Germantown Commissary by the tracks, but now there's a huge new Germantown Commissary in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levee Road. It's huge, too. There's a drive-through. There's plenty of parking. No telephone pole to get in your way. A cool patio. It's right by the track, so the tradition continues. And this is a tradition that's been around forever. That commissary is famous for hickory-smoked, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got a private party room at the new one in Collierville. Self-catering still continues. Party packs for $5.95. Basically, the great ribs, the great pulled shoulder, the great deviled eggs. Everything is there in Collierville and Germantown now. So there is now a Germantown and Collierville style of barbecue. It's called Germantown Commissary.
Hey everybody, John Stacy of the Blue and Gray Show, brought to you by Wolf Chase Honda. Guess what? Football's back and so are we. The Blue and Gray Show now entering our 6th year. Drew Barrett and I have been doing this, and we're bringing you some of the best Tigers through history. We've had them all on our show, and we're going to continue to do that. And you never know who will show up on the Blue and Gray Show. That's the Blue and Gray Show, brought to you by Wolf Chase Honda, right here on Sports 56 and 87.7.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston.
Yes, I will be good, I promise.
Co-hosting Sports 56 Mornings is Anthony Sane.
That's great, man.
This hour is brought to you by Acura of Memphis. Now, back to Peter and Anthony.
Well, it's a big show. Oh, it's a big
bad show tonight. Hour number 3 is here.
Hour number 3.
Hour number 3, saying we made it through the first two.
Made it through the first two.
Somehow. Some way. In the Family Leisure Studios. Welcome back. It's going to be cloudy, rainy for the next few days. Hurricane Laura came rolling through as if we didn't have enough going on in the country.
Yeah, man.
Just throw something else onto the...
Prayers out to those people.
Oh, it's...
affected by it,
man, absolutely insane. I mean, just... Woo! Insane, man. Insane. To think about the amount of damage that can be done. 150-mile-per-hour winds. Storm surge. The pictures at first light are pretty shocking and pretty horrible. So, yeah, absolutely. Prayers to the folks that are dealing with all of that. On top of everything else, cannot even imagine. So we've obviously spent a lot of time discussing the potentially historic day that is to come here. Involving the NBA, the players, will they continue to play? Yesterday they elected to strike, and They've had meetings. They'll continue to have meetings about what the next course of action will be. So we're going to take a little detour from that momentarily to talk to our pal Dustin Starr, who joins us. Dustin, do you think the WWE will be doing anything to mention any of the social justice movement, anything to support it's black athletes or black folks in general?
Well, good morning, guys.
Good
Happy
morning, brother.
Thursday. Man, I heard that before the break, and there's such a big difference between the NBA, NFL, all the professional sports leagues, and WWE because, quite simply, they don't have a players' association. They don't have a union. They don't necessarily have any protection. Even though they're under contract exclusivity to WWE or whichever wrestling organization you want to put in there, they're independent contractors. They can be replaced. And there's probably millions and millions, not probably, there's definitely millions and millions of independent wrestlers out there that would be happy to take anybody's place. So to see any of the WWE superstars go on strike or anything like that, even for a movement like this, I just don't ever see that happening. However, some of these guys have gotten popular enough to where they can speak out on their own. And I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but on Talking Smack the other day, Big E spoke up about his friend Kofi Kingston taking 11 years for him to even receive a championship opportunity. And I know in the world of sports entertainment, the titles, I hate to say it, but they're not necessarily real. They're scripted. You don't necessarily really win it, but when you get it, it's a big deal. And Miz argued with Big E that it took him that long, and Miz is white and Kofi's black. And I don't understand Miz's argument on that, other than he is right in the sense that it took him a long time to get there as well. But Big E was spitting some truth on Talking Smack, and it'll be interesting to see if WWE, has a backlash or punishes him, so to speak. But you wouldn't see a suspension or anything. You might see it in the storytelling, or a string of losses for Big E, who they're having win and go on the singles run and stuff. But I don't think you're ever going to see any kind of strike. WWE will probably put out some sort of message or video package or something. They're the best at that. But without a union or anything of that nature, I don't think that they can band together like the NBA has. And big shout out to the NBA for, the players especially. I believe that LeBron James, hands down now, is my favorite player. And all along it was Michael Jordan. And a lot of it has to do with what's taking place off the court as well.
Well, and we've talked about the challenges that the WWE is facing, and we mentioned the Thunderdome situation. It's been very interesting to see. Dustin, what's your take so far on how it's gone? There've certainly been some issues. Some people, some one guy falling asleep on the camera, another guy with a racist thing, like a KKK hood or something. That was great.
Chris Benoit showed up in the crowd.
Yeah, Chris Benoit was in the crowd. Maybe. How could they have not seen this coming? Come on, wrestling fans are notoriously terrible.
Yeah, we talked about that too. Some of the things they might get up and do. But yeah.
Well, first of all, the Thunderdome was an extremely great idea. It was just phenomenal, the way the lights and just the production and everything like that. I can deal with a guy falling asleep at his computer screen, but some of the other stuff that you saw in there, especially during the main event, front row, which seemed like for several minutes you have a KKK outfit right there during the main event. I mean, it's unbelievable. Now, think of the NBA. They have their virtual suites. They only have 9 boxes with 32 people each in it. So it's very manageable. WWE has to just blow this thing out, and they've got thousands of screens and thousands of people, it seems like, all around that would be very, very hard to manage. And you would think, gosh, WWE's so big, how could they let that happen? I felt like it would happen, but if it did, they would be on it, with the quickness to take that off. But to go from one camera shot to the next and to still see a KKK outfit on television just blows my freaking mind. It's unbelievable. that was able to happen and to happen for so long. So the only thing I can think of, man, is it's just so hard to manage that many accounts and what's going on each television screen. I think you had an execution type of situation. You had a KKK member. You had Chris Benoit. Gosh, I think there was even more instances, and they've only had 3 Thunderdomes. They had SmackDown, SummerSlam, and Monday Night Raw. And the only talk coming out of it is the bad instances that happened, because they really were that bad.
Right. To your point.
Unbelievable.
To your point, the actual Thunderdome has been awesome. Like when you look at it, it's just visually, it pops so hard on television that it's incredible. Like I'm not a hardcore wrestling fan. I try to keep up with it, but like I said, my kid's a big fan to me. But visually, the Thunderdome looked great, and I don't want to like knock it because of idiots. Because I was sitting there throughout the week saying, man, when Star comes on, that's the first thing I want to talk about is how the Thunderdome is awesome. I sent Peter and Zach a group text about it because it looks really good. It looks incredible, but it is unfortunate that you have idiots who being silly is one thing, and having the CM Punk shirt on or AEW shirt is one thing. But when you get into the type of things some of these people are doing, I hate to say that I'm not surprised, but I'm not really surprised. But it is unfortunate that something that looks that we talked about this, how we wish that WWE would get something visually that can pop like that, like the NBA has. Including the fans, and I heard they're still working on the sounds and cheering and things like that. But it is unfortunate that people are idiots. Everywhere you go, it seems like you can't avoid people being full blown fools with the tools that they have at their hands.
Yeah, even the sound. I thought the sound was much better. It kind of, even when the camera's not necessarily on the Thunderdome, you can hear the people. And some people are saying it's piped in, and some say it's the fans. I don't really know. But I do know that I like the sound. I like the look. I think it actually could be something really big, not only for WWE and sports entertainment, but for other sports moving forward in the next 10 years or so. This thing was incredible. But they have to be able to manage it better somehow and to moderate it better. And I don't know if that means that you have to pay a subscription or something to be a part of it. Because just to tell my side of the story here is I actually registered. The first time it was full. The second time I got in, so I'm like, all right, I'm going to be on Thunderdome on Raw. I want to see the controls. Like, they tell you kind of what to do and how to react. And there's a little bit of a delay, which also kind of goes back to the point where if there's a little bit of a delay, how do they not manage that better? But you have to log on literally hours before this thing happens, or else you lose your spot. So they basically invite so many people that if somebody doesn't show up, they already have somebody to fill in. So even though I was confirmed, I still couldn't get into the Thunderdome, and I was on 45 minutes before call time. So I didn't even get to get in there, even though I was all excited that I was confirmed, like I had a seat.
Well, that sucks, but I understand why they do it. Because you have to. It can be so flaky, and you have so many people, and it's very, very difficult to do that. It's a production marvel what they've done. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, the sound is phenomenal. The visuals are amazing. They spent a tremendous amount of money. They have the money to spend, and it certainly sets them apart from AEW and everyone else, because no one else can afford to do.
Yeah, they flex
that sort of thing. That's the kind of flex we were talking about, making it look like reminding us we're the big dog. We can do this. Y'all can't. Remember who's the boss. That was definitely a way to do that. But the nuts and bolts of wrestling is the wrestling. I think we forget about that. I think WWE forgets about that sometimes. And I know that there were apparently over the last 2 weeks and even going into Monday, a frantic Vince McMahon-led rewrite of the entire show just an hour or two before it happened. And Vince, I know, was very upset about the ratings and very upset about what's going on. But to me, Dustin, I get it. It's his deal. It's his baby. It always has been and always will be. But this is where you can't build up stories. You can't build up stuff if you're going to just constantly tear things up, rewrite, and not empower the people that you've hired to write the thing.
Well, yeah. Okay, so this happens every week, guys. Just because we don't read about it every week, it happens every single week that the guys put shows together and Vince rewrites it. That's just how it is and how it's always been. It happens every single week. Thunderdome did help pop the rating on SmackDown. They were back over 2 million. I think it was 2.2 million. You mentioned the big dog Roman Reigns is back. I think that's going to help ratings. But I kind of look at it from a point of view of the business owner, the evil genius, the billionaire, the guy that made sports entertainment what it is. If my ratings are declining and they're suffering, if I'm Vince, I'm rewriting that show too. If I don't think that it's got ratings written on it, I'm doing it too. That's his money. It's his show.
But you got to hire. Then you got to hire new people. Then you got if your people are consistently putting out stuff that you think is terrible, and you got to frantically rewrite it, then you got to get new people. That's not his job unless Vince just wants to hire himself as writer and do everything. I mean, he's 75 and
he does. That's what he wants to do. His fingerprints are going to be all over it until the day that he dies. And he has great people. I mean, Bruce Pritchard, Paul Heyman, two arguably legends. Two of the legends. He fired Eric Bischoff before a full year was up. And you know what Bischoff did with WCW? Mm-hmm. That's just Vince McMahon. And just because we don't read about it every single week doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. I watched the WWE 24 documentary on WrestleMania over the weekend, and it is fantastic. You see all the behind-the-scenes stuff. But remember the Festival of Friendship where Jericho and Kevin Owens went at each other and then, turned and had the big WrestleMania match. They have video of Kevin Owens going and asking Vince, "Hey, Vince, are we good?" Like at the gorilla position after that match. And he looks up and says, "No." And Kevin Owens just staggers back like he just got punched with a right hook. And he just looks at Vince for clarification. And Vince looks down. He won't even look at him. And then Kevin tells the story about how Vince, after that, didn't book him on WrestleMania. And there was this big whole thing. Vince is savage. I could totally see him just going up and tearing the papers up. We're doing this. And that's just how he is, man. He's savage. And that doesn't mean that it's right. There are people that hate Vince McMahon. But he did something right over the years, and I feel like that he feels like it's his show. He'll rewrite it if he wants to, and he does it every week. Every week he does that. I don't know when he'll relinquish that power. And I guess when he does, it'd probably be Triple H and Stephanie that would ultimately take over. Now, there are rumors that Shane McMahon could take over the creative on Monday Night Raw. But even with that, Vince will still have his hands all over everything because he's at every TV.
Well, and one of the stories, I'm trying to remember who it was. I don't know. You may know this story, but there was a match. I want to say it was Randy Savage against somebody. Maybe maybe Flair. Maybe I don't remember who it was, but it was at a show. They were taping it, and they taped it. They went through a match. It was a 15-20 minute match, and they came to the back, and Vince McMahon was there in the gorilla position right behind the stage, and said, "Go back and do it again." So that was terrible. And then they went out and did it again. The match, they did the same match in front of the crowd, and the crowd's like, "What? Why are we seeing this match again?" We're taping it, but like the crowd's just confused. Like, we just watched these guys fight for 20 minutes. Now we're watching them fight for 20 more minutes. They came back, and Vince said, "No, you did the same match. Do it again." And he sent them back out. They did 3 consecutive matches to get it proper, to get it right for tape. And I don't think he liked the third one either. But the fans by the end are just like, "What is happening right now? What are we watching here?"
Yeah.
But that's him right there.
One of my, actually, a couple of my good friends growing up in the business were Men on a Mission, Sir Mo and Mabel, who Mabel has unfortunately passed away. Mo's still with us, and he would tell us stories about feuding with Big Daddy Cool Diesel and how there was this one TV taping where they went out, same thing, but for some reason the jackknife powerbomb didn't go quite like they wanted. They come to the back, and this is Mo telling me this story, like he was involved in this, and Vince says, "Go out there and do it again." They're like, "What do you mean do it again?" Like, they're thinking the people, just like we all would, like,
right.
We just saw these guys. Why are they back out here? He made them all go back out, redo the spot, redo the jackknife powerbomb, just so they could get it right on TV. He didn't care that it was, like, it looked just like what they were doing. Like, take 2, let's do it again. But that's true, man. He will send you back out. I have heard stories about him not liking a Rhino match. So Rhino was in the ring, literally said, "In this right now," and they just rang the bell.
They just
sent the guys out of the ring.
That's it.
They didn't even get a finish in. Get them out of my ring.
Get him out of my ring. Wow.
The match.
Wow.
And
That's
sent them out of the ring. So,
woo. Ooh,
yeah, as a performer in there, I was refereeing at one point, and you have the little earpiece in, and they'll tell you, "Hey, ref, we want to see you dance," and you just kind of like shake your head, like, "No, I'm not dancing." He's like, "Ref, dance," and then you kind of do a little shimmy or whatever, a little dance, like, bleep bleep. I said dance, and then you just start you start dancing in the middle of the ring. The fans are laughing. You hear them laughing in your earpiece, and that's part of their comedy. So, like, I don't know, man. They will send you back out to do it. Nobody knows that they're talking to you in your ear while you're dancing. It just makes you look silly, and it's a rib on you.
They love to do that stuff, and we have to we could spend a whole separate show. Maybe let's think about this for one of the next couple of weeks. Is the role of the referee, because the referees are hugely important in
very
orchestrating and making the whole thing. A good referee can take a match to a different level, and a bad one can ruin a really good match. We've seen both, unfortunately.
In the middle, yeah. Well, I've got plenty of those stories. I mean, I've had to even tell a guy how to put a hold on in the middle of a match, and I'm getting cussed in my ear. Tell that stupid bleep 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 to put his arm here and grab there, and I'm telling him, hey, they told me to call you this. And you're literally cussing the guy out in the ring. He's looking at you like, what?
Like, what?
It's
what
coming
are you
from the back?
You're the one with the earpiece. Bad. That's right. It's exactly right. Yeah, I want to hear more of those stories. We'll do that coming up. Thank you, Dustin. Appreciate it, man. What's coming up this weekend on CW30?
This weekend, we've got the NWA 10 Pounds of Gold on the line with Nick Aldis versus Colt Cabana. Also, we've got Luchasaurus in action from AEW. And then this will be actually the last week that we do like our best of series, because we were back in studio in California filming some brand new matches. So next week on September 5th, we'll have all new action. We're back in production, baby. I'm excited about that.
Back at it. I love to hear it.
Back at it.
Good for you. Dustin Starr, thank you very much. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Dustin, 5-star, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, joining us. Our number 3 brought to you by friends at Acura of Memphis, online, AcuraMemphis.com. Go and see them at 385 and Ridgeway. They will help you take it to the next level. New certified pre-owned automobiles are there for you, and you can experience something really, really nice. Especially when you get this rain that we're going to have, all of this stuff. It's just it's nice to be in a car that you can trust. It's nice to be in a car where they've spent hundreds of thousands of man hours and millions of dollars on security to make sure that you are safe in this automobile. If there's any inclement weather, it's all taken care of. The Super Handling all-wheel drive, it's tremendous for you. Take that test drive, even if it's raining. It's especially a good time to take a test drive so you can feel it for yourself. Find out more, AcuraofMemphis.com. Back after this, Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
If ever there was a time for comfort food, this is it. And there's no comfort food like Sunrise on Jefferson. Fresh-made breakfast featuring Sunrise's signature homemade square biscuits or the huge selection of hot, fresh, and fast lunch items are all part of what has always made Sunrise the most comforting of comfort foods in Memphis. Of course, everything that can be done to keep you and the staff safe at Sunrise is a top priority. And you can always order ahead and get delicious Sunrise to go. At a time this confusing, it's good to know there's one thing you can count on: Sunrise.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Ugh, my stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's now in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And now you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Let me try it.
Try new Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Commitment, dedication, perseverance. At FedEx, our people are our strength. Even during these unprecedented times, we are delivering medical supplies, test kits, and the things you need every day. Helping the world move forward together. Strength, what we deliver by delivering. FedEx.
Welcome back to Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston.
Yes, I will be good, I promise.
Co-hosting Sports 56 Mornings is Anthony Sane.
That's great, man.
This hour is brought to you by Acura of Memphis. Now, back to Peter and Anthony.
Get the table.
That was my favorite gimmick of the Dudley Boys. Is no matter who they're fighting, it's like grab the table, just go underneath the ring, grab that table, set it up, get everybody together.
Let's go, man.
Let's go.
Devon always had to get the table.
Why was Devon had to always get the table?
Yeah, why didn't Bubba get the table sometimes?
Black man can't have nothing. And then why when they changed Devon gimmick, he got to be a pastor?
I know.
Don't even get me started, man. I was on mute when Five Star was talking. No, nothing against him, but I just started thinking about how much the WWE is just ridiculous, and I just said, no, let me just be quiet. But yeah, man. Yeah. Can we talk about something else that's been on my mind since yesterday as well? Something happened earlier yesterday, after the show, but earlier yesterday. Something that's been on my mind.
Anthony saying you could talk about
I'm black.
Literally
I'm
whatever
black.
you want.
Because
right
I'm
now.
black, I'm going to say what I want to say. The table is ours today. I'm black, damn it. I won't be muzzled.
And I will not be muzzled
Yeah.
like a mad dog.
Y'all know it because I'm black. I'm going to say what I need to say. But seriously, though. Nate McMillan was fired yesterday, and I was extremely upset about it. I don't know if people could really tell could really sense the anger in what I was saying. But there's another unspoken truth about the NBA that I think needs to be addressed. And I've talked about this with other media members across the NBA. And I remember when Dave Fisdale first got hired here, I talked to one of my friends that's a national media member and asked him, what does he know about him? Because, I didn't really know too much about him. And he said, man, Dave's pretty good. And let me preface by saying this. I think that Dave Fisdale is a terrible coach. I'll say that. But he said that my number one concern is that something you hear all the time is that the leash with us is shorter than with other coaches. And I know that the idiots are going to wake up and tune in and say what they got to say. We had enough dummies speaking already today. But, man, let's just call it what it is, man. Like, there's no reason why Nate McMillan should have been fired yesterday. You talked about this yesterday. I understand. He's, his playoff record. Man, this guy is one of the better coaches in the NBA. That Pacers team, even before they were as good, this is the best version. Last year probably was the best version of their team. No, this year's version is the best version of their team. And even in years before that, he still was making them a playoff team when they shouldn't have been. This team, there are no superstars on this team. There are no real stars on this team, if you just want to be honest about it. Sabonis was an all-star. He wouldn't have been an all-star in the West. Oladipo is a former all-star. He missed a lot of the season. He was rehabbing in the bubble.
T.J. Warren, man.
Come on, man. This team was led by
Guy's
T.J. Warren.
55 points in the bubble.
T.J. Warren was having to average 50-something points a game. And you had T.J. Warren and what's the other kid's name? The guy that was doing a lot of protesting.
Yeah.
Brogdon?
Yeah, Brogdon. Those are your two dudes who your team was led by. And, man, that team's going to get swept by anybody. And it's like you fire this man, and it's just complete BS to me, man. And they're talking about they want to bring in possibly bring in Mike D'Antoni if Houston doesn't win. So Mike D'Antoni, who's never won anything, always had these teams that fit his particular system. That Pacers roster isn't set up for what that man wants to do. But you want to fire a coach who actually has done it, who's won for years. Everywhere he's gone, he's won. Regardless of what the roster was, he's won. Never in serious consideration for Coach of the Year. I think, did he ever win Coach of the Year, ever? I don't know.
Who?
Nate McMillan, yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm overrating Nate McMillan, but there's no reason why he should have been fired. The same thing happened in Toronto a couple years ago when they fired their coach and they hired Nick Nurse. Dwayne Casey was a good coach to me. Nick Nurse, great coach, he's a phenomenal coach. Probably one of the better coaches.
I was going to say, I don't think that's the example you want.
But here's the point I'm trying to make, Peter. I'm not saying that Nick Nurse isn't a great coach. But when Dwayne Casey was fired, there was no reason for it. Like, even though Nick Nurse has came and he's done a great job, there's no reason for it. And you're continually seeing black coaches with a shorter leash than non-black coaches. And that's a real thing. If you look at the turnover, like we're talking about Brett Brown. People trying to save Brett Brown. Brett Brown's been trashed the whole 7 years he was in Philadelphia. This man was coaching that team for 7 years and should have got fired 2 years ago. And there are people trying to defend him. But where are these people out, why are guys like Nate McMillan being fired? There's no reason for it at all, man. And it's like, and these teams. Okay, explain to me why you think that Nate McMillan should have got fired.
I don't. First of all, I'm. You can have both of these opinions. Okay, you can agree that Nate McMillan should not have been fired, while also saying that Nate McMillan is not that great of a coach, and that's where I stand right now. I don't think that there's any, especially since Nate McMillan got an extension like 2 weeks ago. Like there's no point in any of that. So that's just like silly. But to me, like he's had enough opportunity. He's been there for 4 years, which for an NBA coach that's about average for what you normally get. Obviously, he spent a tremendous amount of time in Seattle and Portland. Prior to that, he is a pretty known commodity in coaching circles as far as what he can do. There were 4 key players within that locker room, apparently, that were upset with Nate McMillan, that did not want him to stick around. The defensive strategy they didn't like. They didn't like the way that he had done things. I agree that.
How long had Boylen been in Chicago, bro?
Like a year and a half, 2 years. I mean, he should have been fired. Like he should have been
game one. He should have got fired.
I mean, he should never been. Yeah, I mean, that's like that's a ridiculous example, but. Like, because I mean, he should never been hired to begin with. Like, he's terrible. He's a terrible coach. And that particular franchise is awful. Like they have an awful record of making dumb decisions. But what I'm saying is, I don't think Nate McMillan should have been fired. I think there are certainly reasons why. You can go back and look at the examples of having to play LeBron James in the Cavs in the playoffs. You can look at injuries, Oladipo, Sabonis. Injuries over the course of his time there. There's plenty of examples of reasons why his teams have struggled in the postseason. And I think it was classless that the Pacers put his postseason record prominently in their press release that fired him. That's pretty low class. And the way they handle it is low class. If you give a guy an extension and then fire him a couple weeks later, that speaks to you, Meg, having really bad decision-making process when it comes to your organization. So I totally get that he shouldn't have been. I don't think that the timing was wrong, and he should have been fired. I also don't think he's a particularly great coach. I mean,
based on what, Peter?
I mean, based on his relationships with his players based on the style of play that they employ, based on the lack of too much. Other than, again, I think the one series against Cleveland, I think is one where he really did a nice job of coaching that. But I think apart from that, he has not reached his players. They've been out schemed in most of the playoff series that they've been in. If you look overall at his playoff record in general, going way back to the days in Seattle, he's had one playoff series win as a coach. One playoff series win. He's 17-36 overall in the postseason. So that's enough of a resume for me. It goes back to what I said about Mike Fratello. I was ripping Mike Fratello for the same stuff, 15 years ago in Memphis, and saying he had a good regular season record, but in the postseason, his teams, he didn't scheme, he didn't play well. I just think Nate McMillan is okay. He's fine. He's an average coach. I think you could find same thing with Dwayne Casey. Great guy. Players liked him. Terrific dude. I think he's doing a good job in Detroit. I think Nate McMillan will not struggle to get another job, but to me, I don't think it's. I think if you found a quote unquote Nick Nurse type or some other new coach or some other different approach, I think Indiana would be as good or better.
I'm not defending Indiana, man, because these front offices they think that they know everything, and they're not saying that they have a coach who has had this team win in spite of this trash roster that they had, and instead of just riding with him and doing things to fix the roster and giving him another opportunity with the better after they make some changes this year. Mm-hmm. I think that should have been the move, but firing him like he was the problem, no, man, I can't ride.
But there's so many coaches that have been fired like they were the problem. I mean,
well, I'm gonna say it's wrong, man.
You talked about Fizdale. I mean, JB Bickerstaff never got much of a chance in Memphis. You can look at the Grizzlies went through coaches like toilet paper. I mean, they're just throwing through guys left and right.
And we got on them too about the same stuff.
Absolutely. So I mean, like I don't disagree with that.
Even though I think Taylor Jenkins is better than both of those guys, I still think that they
exactly
the way the Grizzlies did it was no.
So here's the thing. This goes back to my bigger issue on NBA coaches in general. I am of the opinion that basically when it comes to NBA coaching, most coaches are like fine. And as long as you are not trying to play a system that is totally incompatible with your team,
with your roster, yeah.
As long as you're not just a jerk and a complete piece of garbage to deal with, as long as you are like moderately smart and doing the basic stuff, like you're fine. There's not very many coaches that are really going to move the needle in terms of a team's performance. There's a few on either end. There's some that are just awful that make a team worse, and there's some that are great that make a team better. But there's only one or two Popoviches out there. There's only one. There's not that many like truly elite coaches like that. So I don't know. Like Nate McMillan replacing him with like Ty Lue, like I think that's just like okay, like that's basically you're swapping out one okay coach for another okay coach, and so maybe sometimes that's enough to shake things up and just change things a little bit, but I don't think there's any material, major, huge difference in it. I just don't think that the coaches. It's a players' league, and if those guys are healthy, if the Pacers are healthier in some of those playoff, they probably win one of those playoff series. It makes Nate McMillan look better. I mean, it's kind of how it goes.
But he came in the post Paul George era, right? He wasn't with the Paul George teams, right?
He caught the first year of Paul George. I think he had 1 year with Paul George, I believe.
Man, I get what you're saying. He's an old school coach. He's got old school ways. He might be a stubborn guy, and I get the point you're saying about losing your locker room. But I still feel like they should have. It just comes off super arrogant with the crap team to think that.
Oh, their organization's not. Yeah, they handled it very poorly.
Came off super arrogant.
They handle it very poorly, and to extend a guy. And then to yank that back and fire him tells me that you're not really very smart. You're not very forward-thinking in terms of your organization. You don't have a real good long-term plan. I don't think that's going to be real impressive for coaching candidates to say, you guys, I mean, how do I feel good about you extending me when this is potentially something that can happen? So I don't think it's necessarily fair for Nate McMillan, but I also think the book on Nate McMillan's pretty well written and pretty established. Like he's a fine coach. I don't think he'll have an issue getting a job. I think he'll do a good job with the team. I just think he's kind of limited in what he can do, and a little bit like Dwayne Casey. And I'm not saying that you can find that Nick Nurse type guy, but if you look at what Nurse has done, Nurse has shown he is a legit. Like he's done different things with that team. I mean, with and without Kawhi Leonard, like the way they play defense is phenomenal. The way that they attack the development of young players, all that stuff. has been big, and I think that's been one of the issues with the Pacers and their use of some of their bigs. And like you got like Miles Turner, like has he really developed? How good could he be? He hasn't really developed beyond what you would have expected him to develop. Sabonis is good, and he's a good solid player. But has he taken it to the next level? I don't know. So,
he's an all-star, man. What are you talking about?
And you spent like.
But still, you acting like he ain't developing. He's clearly developing.
He is the probably bottom 5% of an all-star in the history of the
history of the world. Yeah,
in the history of the world. But yes, technically he's an all-star. Like Jamal McGlure was an all-star one year. Like, come on. Like, okay.
Mo Williams was
all-star. Mo Williams, all-star Jamal McGlure. Oh, come on, man. I mean, Sabonis is good. Like, he's a good player, but I think they'll be fine. Like, you replace him with Coach X, and I think the results would be similar.
It just bothers me.
I can't get too worked up about Nate McMillan.
It just bothers me to see a coach of color to be terminated, and they're going to replace him with some guy who's whatever. D'Antoni, who gets constant chances, and you see the Luke Waltons of the world constantly getting hired, and they're trash and hanging in situations longer than they should be. And it's just aesthetically, it's a bad look, especially in the times we're in now, to see a guy, because it's not like he's a bad coach, man. He's overachieved with this team for years, and that's on the fault. That's the fault of the organization. And then you fire him as if he's the reason why, he's the reason why you're even a playoff team. Like, that's a non-play. If you told me that's a non-playoff roster, because everyone looked at the Pacers like, how is this team winning? Like, they didn't have Oladipo at all this season. Like, and how are they still winning? Like, you got T.J. Warren and Brogdon and Sabonis' kid. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna get in the camp that he's an okay coach. He's a great coach, bro. If you're taking that team and you're making them compete, you're better than just a replaceable guy. But
the Pacers are
the proof's in the pudding.
As the texter points out, they fired Frank Vogel, and now Vogel's really good. I mean, like, they're just dumb. I don't think it's
the proof's in the pudding. We'll see next year if they're better.
It's a bad look. I don't have any issue with necessarily. I have an issue with how they did it, and if they replace him with just some random
Joe Shamu,
older white coach, whoever, then okay, yeah, I get it. Like. But I suspect it'll be like a Ty Lue or somebody like that.
There'll probably be another black guy that they hire.
Probably another black guy, and which is
no, it's not. They're gonna hire what's the name? They're gonna hire your boy D'Antoni when they go down.
Yeah, they're not that. I mean, they could try if they want to.
Bums.
I mean, like Kenny Atkinson got fired from the Nets they did a good job. Like, again, sometimes you just, I don't know. Teams are weird. Coaches are the most changeable commodity, because you can't change the roster that quickly, but you can change the coach, and it's not always fair that the coach is the one who takes the hit for all of that stuff. I mean, the Grizzlies, when Lionel Hollins had that team in the Western Conference Finals, they didn't even talk to that man about an extension. They didn't make him a single offer.
Yeah, that's
fair. And replaced him with Dave Yeager. I mean, come on, man. Organizations have been stupid about coaches for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. It's just that's one of the it's hard to be a coach in the NBA, man.
But man, we talked about this. But I get the part about him having the separation with his players and a disconnect. But man, if a man's breath that foul, like we talked about the other day, how connected do you think? You know what I'm saying? Of course, there's a disconnect between him and the players, man.
Goat breath is a real problem in those meetings and those huddles.
Also, that's
why they couldn't listen to. They couldn't even look at the play chart, because it's like they turned away. They can't even read the X's and O's.
That's why how you expect a man to develop it? He can't even have a one-on-one with his coach, man.
He melted one of the play. I understand he melted an actual one of the chalkboards.
He's D'Antoni melted on his roster for that breath. But now, in his defense, as I think back on that moment when Nate McMillan had the trash breath that game, it was post game. It was post game. So to his defense, he probably was getting it in, and the mouth was wide open. So in his defense, that might have been why his breath was so kicking. But yeah, shout out to Nate McMillan. I hope he lands somewhere. A team like the Pelicans would be stupid not to reach out to get him, but the Pelicans are stupid. So.
That's that they are. They're stupid. Yeah. All right, we'll come back and continue. Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96, 187.7.
Spend your lunch with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 middays, delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions. Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops and find your right fit. At Edwin Watts, they take customer service to a whole new level. Not only do they fit for clubs, they take pride in servicing customers throughout the entire store. They'll help you find the right shoes, bags, gloves, balls, apparel, and more. At Edwin Watts, you'll find name brand equipment at guaranteed lowest prices every day. So buy it, try it, they know you'll like it because Edwin Watts help you find the right equipment. Visit Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Hey, it's me, your cousin, from Boston. I'm on the radio doing ads for Sam Adams. Now I'll be known as the Sam Adams guy instead of the dude who fell in the quarry. Sam Adams Boston Lager is crisp and refreshing, which is why I bring a six-pack wherever I go, except the movies anymore. Sam Adams, from Boston with love. Here's the legal part. Watch how fast I can read. The Boston Beer Company, Boston, Mass. Drink responsibly. Now, is that 30 seconds? Are we even close?
Memphis, it's official. Crab Kings is where it's at. The best seafood with 7 flavors to choose from. Try the shrimp and chicken pasta. Now available is the salmon and fried lobster pasta. Snow crab, king crab, dungeons and more. Fish platter, $9.99. Lobster tail, $10.99. Jumbo wings, 99 cents each. Download the app or search Crab Kings on Google. Visit us at CrabKingsTN.com. Crab Kings Seafood and Pasta. Memphis favorites. Memphis, it's official. Crab Kings is where it's at. The best seafood with 7 flavors to choose from. Try the shrimp and chicken pasta. Now available is the salmon and fried lobster pasta. Snow crab, king crab, dungeons and more. Fish platter, $9.99. Lobster tail, $10.99. Jumbo wings, 99 cents each. Download the app or search Crab Kings on Google. Visit us at CrabKingsTN.com. Crab Kings Seafood and Pasta. Memphis favorites.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build your own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
Welcome back to Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston.
Yes, I will be good, I promise.
Co-hosting Sports 56 Mornings is Anthony Sane.
That's great, man.
This hour is brought to you by Acura of Memphis. Now, back to Peter and Anthony.
So, what do you think happens today, Anthony?
There won't be games today.
No, I definitely don't think there's going to be games today.
I think that I'm still optimistic that the playoffs will resume, and I think that we'll see something today that'll make us lean more towards their way, that they're working towards bringing it back. I think that's what we'll hear today.
You think they are gonna bring it back?
I'm not saying you're going to hear a resolution today that they're coming back today, but I think.
So you think they will play the season? You think the season?
Yeah,
will continue?
I think the season will continue, and I think you'll see something today that'll make you feel like that. See something moving towards that happen. Is what I think will happen. But if they don't, that's their God-given right, brother.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm torn on this one as far as what is going to happen.
But see, I was surprised last night when they said that so many guys did want to play. That guys were like, "Yeah, we want to come back." I wasn't expecting that at all. So that's what made me think that today that it's going to be even more moving towards that way.
Well, I think a lot of guys. I mean, it's really challenging because a lot of guys made their peace with, doing all this, sacrificing all this stuff to go to the bubble to try to make it happen.
Right.
They made their peace with all that stuff. And then, now as it turns out, circumstances have changed quite a bit. Are they willing to just walk away from all of that they've done when they, wanted to do it? And Jaylen Brown apparently made the point of, if you're going to walk away, are you walking away and actually going to walk to doing something, or are you just walking away? Is what happens after that when you go back to your home, when you go back to your city, when you go back to your community? What are you going to do? He said, I'm all in favor of it, but you got to do something with it. Draymond Green made the point of, are you giving up your platform by not playing? Are you giving up your repeated platform to be at front and center? I say no. I don't think so. To me, the power that you exercise is the power to withhold that, which then withholds a great deal of money from yourself, but also a great deal of money from ownership and from everyone else. Mm-hmm. You're taking money out of the system willingly. Now, is that going to cost you? Yes. It would. The financial implications of the players deciding not to play would be massive. You're talking about billions and billions of dollars. You're talking about a collective bargaining agreement that would be ripped up. You're talking about huge long-term ramifications if they elected not to do it. So it's not something that should be done lightly. But by the same token, if that were the decision, if they just packed up the bubble and left, the statement that makes, that we are not going to be your entertainment, that we are done with this, that we want substantive, real change, and we're willing to put all this aside until we get it, is an incredibly powerful labor movement. And that is the power of labor, the power to withhold your work. That is a power that labor always has. And, if it's organized and used properly, it can be an incredibly powerful weapon. Mm-hmm. So that's where it is. And, it's not, like I've always said, it's not for me to say what they should or shouldn't do.
Yeah.
But I think the power of, if they were to do it, the statement would be much more powerful than if they didn't.
Right. And
even
I support it regardless.
Require a lot of sacrifice.
I absolutely support it. I was proud to watch it last night yesterday, all afternoon and evening on my television. I just think it's a great thing, man. Like I want to know more about what their end goal is, what the next step is, those type of things. But whatever it is, just to see these guys exercise their right and take a bold stand, man. Where they're literally putting the skin in the game. So I'm glad to see it. I'm proud to see it.
I'm proud to see it. I'm proud to see it too. I think it's phenomenal. But it's so it's sad that it's come to this.
Yeah.
But here we are. So, where do we go from here? I don't know. Well, the owners have the owners have a lot of weight on their shoulders. They've got a meeting coming up here momentarily. To me, they'd better show to me that the onus would be on them to show the players that it's worth it for them to keep playing, that they're not giving up influence and power by play. The owners have to do something tangible in using their money and their influence within each of their local governments to start the ball rolling and to start the process of making this whole thing happen. And that includes the commissioner, includes Adam Silver, who's not really been in the bubble and who has connections directly to the Trump administration and others. So that he's on the hook here too. So I want to see meaningful change start with them. And I would assume the players want that as well.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out more today. Players are meeting in a few minutes.
Owners are meeting in a few minutes as well.
It's going to be
it won't take too long.
Literally history in the making, man. We'll
That's
see.
right.
Yeah. By the time we talk tomorrow, we'll have even more to talk about. Yeah, man, it's a historical, eventful day today.
There's no question about it. Thanks to Evan Barnes, Dustin Starr for joining us. Thanks to all you guys for sticking with us and for being part of a really important discussion. Coming up next, middays, they'll have a lot more on this. Y'all have a good Thursday.